Phil. It's happening.
With the 10th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select quarterback J.J. McCarthy. Get the flag!
Why are the Vikings putting the future of their franchise in the hands of J.J. McCarthy? The Vikings' disrespect is palpable around the country right now. I'll just say, Judd will observe in Judd's camp notes J.J. McCarthy taking reps with the first team offense at some point.
J.J. McCarthy in the red zone throws a really nice ball.
95, 99% of the national perception of this team not being very good is based on the quarterback situation.
Kevin O'Connell joins Purple Daily. What's up, KOC?
What's the fair question? What's the fair expectation in a coach's mind about a kid like JJ?
I think the big thing, Judd, for me is just the ownership of doing his job.
But McCarthy throws an interception early in the game, but then bounces back with a couple really nice touchdown throws, some good throws overall.
He makes what I would consider to be no regret throws.
What's the point even? Like, J.J. McCarthy has been injured. Can you get this team to 9 wins and maybe a wild card spot? Sam Darnold. He was the #1 ranked quarterback in week 1, according to Pro Football Focus, just ahead of #2 Patrick Mahomes.
But the hottest take and the biggest takeaway, I just booked the ticket right now, $100. Sam Darnold, comeback player of the year, plus 3,000, baby.
It's score time!
Let's see it.
This team started, at training camp, over under 6.5 wins. No expectations. No one aside from Purple Daily was talking about this team.
Y'all usually want a hot take, right? Super Bowl window is open. Oh. It is open.
That I swung and missed on thinking this team would be average or below average. I said 7-10. They're clearly a lot better.
First down caller out of Linebacker and O-line.
Let's give B-Well the flag. I think it's safe to say, unless you guys want to fight this at this point, the Vikings' formula for winning is defense, defense, defense.
New Jersey next. Hey, Kyle.
5-0. 5-0. Lifelong Vikings fan. I'm from South Jersey. Eagles Nation. Okay? And we don't care.
General, what would you say you guys think of Sam Darnold through the first 6 weeks?
I'd say it remains a pleasant surprise because my expectations were I have no clue.
Sam Darnold doesn't have the magic in him to overcome the catastrophic throws, which is a potential problem for him.
How are you doing a couple of days after the Vikings' second consecutive defeat, Thorsky?
I'm still not over it.
Sorry, my hair's a little messed up. I just got done pulling it out for the last 3 hours.
The Vikings made a big trade. Cam Robinson, starting tackle for the last 8 years for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This year feels great, but I think it's just building towards the actual year, which is hopefully next year.
Let's get into state of Sam Darnold here. The Vikings offense is now outside of the top 10 in most meaningful categories. Darnold was awesome in this game. Yeah, using his athletic ability to keep plays alive.
Justin Jefferson didn't have a good statistical performance on Sunday, but he had a marvelous impact on the game because the Vikings have weapons.
When I saw the Bears guy waving off the punt, and then it bounces right into his ankle, that was just something else.
Thoughts on, we're into December here, and with Sam Darnold at the helm, it's a top half of the league offense, anywhere between 10th and 15th total offense.
A U.S. Bank Stadium in the crowd probably has the best advantage. If we have a playoff at home, we're going to win that game with these fans that we have out here.
Mike the Viking. Yeah! He's a literal Viking. Look at this guy.
Johnny Munn, tight end 1. Johnny Munn, tight end 1.
Hot take, Vikings are going to NFC Championship, and we're going to be shirtless.
Go, baby!
The red zone, 4-4 on Sunday, absolutely huge. Sunday's game was only the third game all season. Houston and the Rams lost being the others, in which the Vikings have not turned over the football in any fashion.
If you would have gone back at any point during the summer or back in March, certainly, and said, hey, as we sit 3 games before the end of the regular season, Sam Darnold will be like the 7th best quarterback in the league. Wow. Let's get Kudo the flag here,
I'll get
Judd.
the flag.
Purple Daily!
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold, Darnold Schwarzenegger. What an amazing game. Sammy D, MVP! Sammy D, MVP! Sammy D, MVP! World Vikings! Let's go!
I think if you had said flat out on July 20th, hey guys, the defense and the offense are going to be top 10 in a bunch of categories, you take that in a heartbeat.
We're on podcast live. Score North. Hey, Score
Let's get these guys the flag.
If there's another performance like we saw on Sunday night, I think it's going to be a pretty short stint in the playoffs.
I mean, did you guys see a couple plays where Sam Darnold literally looked at the receiver and didn't throw it?
It's only the pass routes and kind of like trying to squeeze every last inch you got out of that quarterback, right?
Years they have no interior line. They drafted a 3rd-round draft pick. Did he do anything? No. Did they get him better? No.
The Vikings will not be franchise tagging Sam Darnold by the 3 p.m. Central Time deadline today. A moment of clarity. Kwesi at 5:15 a.m. gets Kevin on the phone and says, okay, it's all become clear to me now. J.J. McCarthy is going to be our starting quarterback going forward.
Did you feel the same way after free agency last year that you felt this year?
No.
When you added 2 interior offensive linemen, 2 interior defensive linemen, 2 running back, depth at secondary, re-signed Harrison Smith, they got better.
Hired by Kwesi to put together his top 5 around that range. Who are they?
It would be Calvin Banks Jr., Gray Zabel, Derek Harmon, Kenneth Grant, between Johnny Bear and Walter Nolan for the other one, if I can.
Okay.
A-.
So A-.
That's my prediction.
A- on Calvin Banks Jr.
With the whole thing, I think.
A+ on Benjamin Morrison. Okay, they didn't like the hair of that, but
yeah, but then you got A+ on Kyle Williams.
This is
Let's go! We did it! We did it!
Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group!
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
We are live at the Fillmore in Minneapolis for the 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel right now. Worldwide. We are worldwide on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Purple Daily, where we want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. That's right.
That's what it's all about here, folks. That's what it's all about.
So yeah, we're so excited. Our 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party. We're so grateful for you guys, the audience, whether you're here at the Fillmore or whether you are streaming live right now on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. We will have you covered pick by pick by pick until the Vikings pick at 24 or do whatever they're going to do tonight. We also have other fun themes throughout the night that we're going to jump into here. But I don't know. That was a good intro. Like, everyone's here.
You did good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Having a good time, you know.
I'm hanging.
We'll introduce everyone here momentarily, but I just feel like...
You feel like something's missing, don't you?
Just like, yeah, just a little kind of...
Just a little something.
Can you put your finger on what's...
What do you got, Judd?
I think I got an idea.
Something's... Okay. I hear some suggestions from...
All right.
From the audience here. Just a little seasoning here at the Purple Daily Draft Party. If we could just... I don't know, put our... Oh! Get the flag! we go. Okay, there we go. We're like, how do we shut it off? Okay, Judd's gonna have to go to the hospital with frayed labrums now, I think. Are you okay?
Don't trip over
Sports
that.
Dad?
That's a nasty trip. This cannot be Mackie and Dex going forward.
I don't know if I can do this in 2026. Getting a little tired, getting old.
Get that cardio in at the start of the show here.
My workout's set for the day.
By the way, that's the Sports Dad, Judd Zolgad, right here. We got executive producer, sometimes mustached, sometimes not, Declan Goff over here. I am Phil Mackey. The scoop sofa tonight.
Scoops.
With Darren Doogie Wolfson, 5 Eyewitness News, and Tyler Forness from A to Z Sports, Forno, and the Vikings First and Skol YouTube channel. And by the way, Crisco from KS95 is roaming around here somewhere with a live microphone and a glorious mustache, folks.
Yeet.
And a Justin Jefferson jersey.
Justin Jefferson. Is that Sidney Rice or Justin Jefferson?
No, it's Justin Jefferson. I just had to shop in the big guy section. So it's the one they had, and I happen to like them, so it's good.
So Crisco's going to be roaming around talking to fans tonight throughout the show here. And maybe most importantly, we've got on the edge of the stage here, for the second year running, our Vice President of Skol Chant Operations, John Leonard, is in the house here, folks. We needed a guy with a bass drum a year ago. You delivered, and now you've signed up for an annual job that you weren't sure you were taking on. But if you could please do us the honors to start this night the right way here with a Skol chant, sir. That'd be great.
Skol.
Quick programming note, just for like production note, if somebody could fix the monitor that's off here in front of us so that we can see the Twitter news, someone who's smarter than us.
Pat, the guy that looks like me but isn't me. It's not me. There's another one that looks like me. It's Pat. He does a great job. We are wearing the same pants tonight, but no,
oh, wow.
it's a different guy. We're not twins, I promise.
You sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I feel like you've been mistaken for each other already about 10 times tonight.
Yeah.
It feels like so. So yeah, we've got a bunch of fun stuff planned. I'll tell you what, the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line was buzzing earlier today and yesterday. So we will get to the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line at some point. But I'd love to take the temperature here, starting with Judd. A year ago, the Vikings in this room, we were all here when they drafted J.J. McCarthy. They've got their franchise quarterback, knock on wood, for the foreseeable future. And they spent $250 million on free agents in March, the most of any team in the NFL. Just a quick vibe check, I guess. Where is this franchise at going into draft night tonight, Judd?
I think they're in fantastic shape. I think they're in great shape. A year ago, it was a ton of fun, but I think there were a lot of questions, namely a quarterback. It's my belief they've solved the issue. I know he didn't play. I know he got hurt. I also think that J.J. McCarthy is going to be very good. But more importantly, and we've talked about this on the show a lot, is what I love about this draft is that, yes, the Vikings go in with 4 picks. Yes, they could trade back and add more. But the Vikings are in a position now where they don't go into the draft with some gaping hole where they're like, oh, my God, we have to take Garrett Bradbury at center because we don't have a center.
Yeah.
So I think that they are in excellent, excellent shape. And I think tonight is a sort of celebration of where things stand for a team that I would expect to be extremely competitive in 2025.
Yeah, Dex, what's your vibe check right now? Vikings vibe check.
Vibe checks are great because I think the possibilities are endless of what they can do tonight. So they obviously had a great free agency, right? They built up the trenches. They add Jordan Mason, who I also loved. I know this running back class is supposed to be pretty deep, but I didn't love the idea of maybe going after an early running back. Now that kind of can go on the back burner to a degree. And honestly, more trenches, right? I mean, they've signed a lot of good offensive linemen. They've signed some defensive linemen, but they're up there in age. More trenches, the better. We have been begging the Vikings to address interior offensive line play for years. So more trenches, the better. That's kind of my vibe check.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's hard to predict that you're going to repeat a 14-win season, especially when you have a first-year starting quarterback. But I think what I love the most about what they did in March with, again, $250 million spent on free agents is they fixed the immediate needs. You could tell Kevin O'Connell was seething after that playoff loss, the Week 18 loss and the playoff loss. Seething. He never throws players under the bus directly at the podium, and he didn't name names. You mentioned Bradbury. I love that 15 minutes in here, we already threw Garrett Bradbury under the bus. He doesn't even play for the Vikings anymore. But he mentioned we got to be better interior offensive line, and then we've all talked about for years, the last 3 or 4 years, lack of interior pressure in the trenches on defense. They went systematically in the first 48 hours of free agency, check, 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 check. Not necessarily all super long-term solutions, but they fixed those gaps for 2025, and I think it gives them a ton of flexibility whenever we get to the 24th pick tonight for them to do the best player available thing. They don't have to get desperate, to your Bradbury point. We need a center. Right. We have to have a left guard. If they draft a left guard, awesome. If not, you've got some options.
And I think, too, that the one thing I will say in talking to some folks here, too, is if a defensive tackle falls to them, that's the one position I wouldn't mind, because when you look at where things stand right now, Hargrave is 32, Allen is 30. Both of them are coming off injury-shortened seasons. So as far as that goes, if you get another defensive tackle, and by the way, those guys rotate. Yep. It's not like offensive line where guys just start and don't come out. So that's the one place I really wouldn't mind if they upgraded significantly in the first round.
Well, we already have major breaking draft news here in the first 10 minutes. Let's throw it for the first time over to the scoop sofa. We'll start with Forno there, and then I'll throw a question at you too, Doogie, but give the audience the breaking news here, Forno.
Yeah, so the Cleveland Browns have traded out of 2. They've traded the second overall pick, 104th in the 4th round, and 200th in the 6th round to the Jaguars for 5, 36, 126, and next year's first. So this has been brewing all afternoon, and it looks like Travis Hunter is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Wow. Travis Hunter, congratulations on your new home in Jacksonville, Florida.
That's a great pickup. I think he's the best player in this draft, Dukes. I really do.
Yeah. So Doogie, just let's turn it to and by the way, we'll keep you guys posted pick by pick. We'll have evaluations. We also have a ton of just Vikings-related conversations and fun things. So we'll kind of bounce back and forth. But let's go to the scoop sofa here with Doogie. Any sort of Vikings-related steam you are gleaning in the early minutes of the 2025 draft, Dukes?
Well, first off, Phil, appreciate the invitation. How about a shout out to Judd Zolgad on his 32nd wedding anniversary? Judd is here.
Where's the
God
lovely...
bless his beautiful
Your
wife,
wife's
Dawn,
there.
up there.
Dawn,
you are a saint.
Yeah.
32 years, and you're celebrating your wedding anniversary here at the Fillmore. Dawn, God bless you.
There you go. All right, yeah.
Get the flag.
I'll get the flag.
Come on.
All right. Okay,
For love.
Whoa. There it is.
The Zolgads.
There you go. There you go. See? Woo. That's love right there. Flags all over the place. All right.
All right, we'll save your labrums.
All right, congratulations, Judd. How about this for my 14-year-old son watching at home?
Yep.
Baseball practice got canceled because of the rain. He's wondering, I won't use the expletive, but he's wondering, what the bleep is Cleveland doing? So he's very much on the Travis Hunter to Jacksonville bandwagon. Phil, to answer your question on the Vikings, I will tell you this much. There are people close to safety out of South Carolina, Nicky Manwari, that feel like more than anywhere else, he's going to land in Minnesota tonight. Do I believe that? I need to know where Gray Zabel goes, where Tyler Booker goes. That I do feel like the Vikings' #1 priority tonight is offensive line, but don't take safety out of the equation.
Interesting. Nick Emanwari. So, Forno, Emanwari, just a big, athletic, safety kind of linebacker hybrid. How would he fit in? If that was the move in a few hours from now, how would he fit in with this defense?
So it's interesting. I said it this morning on the scoop session that we did with Doogie. I don't see him as a box linebacker. I actually see him as a split safety. So he would kind of slide into the Cam Bynum role, but he has upside to do a lot of that box stuff. He hasn't been as successful with it as you would think for a guy his size, but a guy who moves and runs in the 4.3s with 6'3", 225 pounds, and great ball skills. He's awesome at high pointing the football, attacking it in the air. And understands what to do as a split safety. Like, this is a guy who could be somewhat of a Cam Chancellor if he learns how to be a little more physical and play in that box. But right now, he just take over for Cam Bynum, and you could teach him the rest.
Oh, whoa. Judd's camp notes. My man is Theo Jackson, okay? I want my guy Theo Jackson. I don't go out there and sweat and grind and take notes on a notebook page with suntan lotion dripping down so I can't write so that Theo Jackson can't get his chance.
I mean, you are the #1 Theo Jackson propagandist, I would say, in the Minnesota media here. And they did give him a few $1 million to jump into a higher role here.
And I am not a stan. You know that. I'm not much of a stan, but in this case, I'm a stan.
I think my favorite part of the hype video was watching Judd getting more and more sunburn and my mustache growing more and more as each week passed. I think that was my highlight of the start of the season.
Declan looking more like Wyatt Earp, and Judd looking more and more like he spent 4 hours asleep in a tanning booth or something during training camp.
Nobody should have a mustache on the face of the earth as much as Dex. Great mustache.
Did you consider perhaps bringing the mustache to the draft
I thought
party?
about it. My lovely wife said, please shave that thing every single night. She's up there waving somewhere. Yeah,
She's right there.
Yeah, she's up there. But
let the stash grow.
Yeah.
Let the stash grow.
Judd, is there anything the Vikings could do tonight that would, I guess, raise the hair up on the back of your neck?
Yeah.
That you would get mad about?
Oh, I thought you were going to say
rant about.
Boy. I mean, we got to get to the pick before I can officially divulge that because I tend to go off at times. But I did get a write that down prediction from someone upstairs when we were doing the meet and greet, and his prediction is that they're going to trade up. That would shock me. Like
Really? Okay.
Like there's been nothing. There's been
That's
no.
just
steam.
is that like a
No,
Purple
no.
Daily Anonymous tip line guy, or like just a
He
random dude 4 beers deep told you?
He just thinks because of the circumstances and the fact this first round is so odd that they might trade up, which that would really surprise me. I wouldn't complain about it necessarily, but I certainly wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, hey, by the way, Forno, if you could move your mic there, Forno. Just move your mic down there. It's good. Yeah, I think, I feel like even they don't know what they're going to do in that room right now. I mean, there's probably 100 different scenarios. Would you be shocked if they traded for a player? If they traded number 24 for like a player?
I'd be very
current player.
I'd be very surprised.
Full Rams, as we would call it.
Yeah, I don't see that. I would be less shocked if they traded, which I don't think they're going to necessarily, a current player on their roster.
Yeah.
But if they traded for a player, I don't see that one.
Yeah. So, by the way, this 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party would not be possible without our amazing partners, and you see a lot of them kind of around the back edge of the Fillmore here. So please give love to our sponsors and partners that help us put this on. Give love to the bartenders and the staff, the security. The Fillmore is such an amazing venue. But a shout out to Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, Roku, 2 Men in a Junk Truck, Continental Diamond, and ContinentalDiamond.com. Grandpa's Barbecue. Is this just like, can we just guzzle the barbecue up here? How does
might
this
be
work,
able
Dex?
to. I don't know. Last year, right, we had the Hot Takes grill. I think it's just, you just take a swig of barbecue sauce and then you have to deliver a hot take. Maybe as the night goes, I mean, we got 5 hours, base 4.5, 5 hours to kill. There might be over-under of 1.5 sips of barbecue for my friends at Grandpa's Barbecue since 1976, which is handcrafted, slow simmered and packed with tradition. Each bottle carries a taste of generations, bringing people together for unforgettable moments at the table. And every bottle bought helps support the XP Family Support Group, a cause that's personal to the company. So you're giving hope to that as well. So shout out to Grandpa's Barbecue. Go check them out and deliver your hot takes with some nice hot sauce.
Also, I know some people are staying at Element Hotel, so a shout out to them. And also, Dex, Underdog Fantasy powering the Purple Daily Draft Party here tonight.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Underdog's great for fantasy football season, but also right now you can also get in on the action at Underdog with the Extender, which is going on, which is a cool little thing that they're doing. So at Underdog, when you sign up with promo code SCORE and you join, and when, the Lakers lose to the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves fire a second-round series here soon, you can get in on the Extender with profit boosts for each game. So go to Underdog, download it, and use promo code SCORE, S-K-O-R, for a $1,000 deposit match.
Love it, love it. All right, before we go further here, we thought we'd loosen things up and play one of our favorite games that we brought back a couple weeks ago. It's time now for the Random Viking of the Week. We're going to have a contest. because Judd and Declan were involved in the planning here, so it's kind of been spoiled. So kind of a last-minute change. We're going to go to the scoop sofa, and we're going to pit Tyler Forness against Darren Doogie Wolfson in a game of Random Viking of the Week, okay? So I'm going to give a series of clues. You guys can jump in and guess whenever you think you know the answer. If one of you hits a third strike, the other one wins automatically. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's do it. I've got my pen in hand.
Okay, yeah, no
writing down the clues.
No Googling, but you can take notes.
Can I get some of that barbecue sauce, Declan, if I win?
Yeah, pass. Or do you want some dry rub?
You want some dry rub or some sauce?
All right. I mean, if you guys want to shout out answers, you're welcome to as well, but here we go. Clue number 1. This Random Viking of the Week originally hails from the state of Colorado. This Random Viking of the Week played basketball and track and field in high school, and his basketball team went to the state tournament his senior year.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So a great multi-sport athlete. This Random Viking of the Week played in 2 career NFL playoff games, both with the Vikings.
Ooh, all right.
That's a good one.
All right.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep. Joe Webb.
Is that a get? I guess.
I don't think he played in 2. I think he was just one debacle in Green Bay was enough for him.
This Random Viking of the Week was a second-team All-Big Ten player in college.
Ooh.
Got to second-team All-Big Ten. And was an academic All-Big Ten in college.
Go Huskies.
I thought this was interesting. This Random Viking, who has 23,000 followers on Twitter, his latest tweet that I saw was, "Wow, Season 2, Episode 2 of The Last of Us on HBO Max was one of the best episodes of TV I've ever watched. Amazing stuff."
He's right. He's right. It was so good.
Really good.
That destroyed me. Yeah. Yep.
What's the show about?
It's based off a video game. It's about like a post-apocalyptic fungus
I'm out.
infection. Yep, that's
I'm
all
out.
I had to
Fuck.
say.
I'm
All
out.
I had to say.
Thanks, Dex.
Yeah, we'll add that to the list. Okay, this Random Viking of the Week never scored a touchdown in the National Football League. 0 career touchdowns. According to Pro Football Reference, he was called for 2 holding penalties in his career.
Is he in the building right now? Am I allowed to ask questions?
You know, Doogie, I'm the one giving the clues here, okay?
You are allowed to ask questions. You're also allowed to be denied that question, so I don't know what Phil's going to do.
I think he might be in the building right now. Yeah. Do you have a guess?
I didn't know where he was from. Even though I had a nice conversation with him at about 6 o'clock, his knowledge, especially when it comes to the O-line, is off the charts.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Searles.
Jeremiah Searles.
Look at this
From
guy.
the O-line committee.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Baby.
Here we go.
Let's go, Maya.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
baby.
Go.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go, dude.
Hold on. Here we go, on the couch.
I had no idea that Jeremiah was a hoopster.
I did my best. I wasn't very good at scoring. Great at defense, 0 finesse around the bucket. And I always took all 5 fouls because you can't take them with you.
Well, you should, yeah.
They don't roll over to the next game, so you might as well just take them with you every time you take them.
What about like screen setting? Would you set a mean pick
absolutely.
at the top of the
Absolutely. And I took a charge one time, and I bruised my tailbone. So from then on, I'd just stand there. They'd hit and fall, and I'm
Dead
I'm not
serious.
falling.
If Jeremiah set a pick right now and I ran into that playing basketball, I would die.
Oh, yeah.
I would be.
Oh,
I'd be
wait,
killed.
can we stage this right now?
Just
Actually?
I run into
I want
Jeremiah.
who wants to see Declan run full speed into Jeremiah?
Oh my God.
There's not enough insurance policy in this building to
Oh,
cover
come
that.
on.
I saw someone with there's a newborn here, there's a baby here, and like the front baby carrier. We needed that, and then I just sit in Jeremiah's front.
The baby board?
Yeah, just the baby one. I
the
just
baby
sit there.
board.
Yeah.
Free throws, good or bad?
Awful.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a terrible. Hack-a-Shack was a real thing
Yep.
when I played basketball.
Hack-a-Jer.
100%. Just hack it up.
Well, all right. So by the way, I should probably hit the chimes here too, because whenever there's a new pick in, it looks like Travis Hunter to the Jaguars at 2. Cam Ward, obviously #1 of the Titans, and then Abdul Carter is now a New York Giant. So
I love that pick. Abdul's my #1 guy going into the draft. Like
Really?
I thought he had a chance to go 1-1. It's a passing league. You want to go get after the passer. Now you pair him with Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau. That defensive line in New York could be nasty.
Wow. You're also kind of a Giants homer, so
Yes.
I feel like you know, grain of salt.
So wait, if he was potentially 1-1, was Hunter your second pick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have taken Hunter too. And I mean, I love Hunter too. I think Hunter's an unbelievable player. I was talking with you guys a little bit backstage. I worry about the both ways thing because he's going to wear himself out. And everyone argues, let him do it. My biggest argument is you make the most money in the NFL in years 6, 7, 8. Why wear yourself out in years 1 through 4? Right? If you can make $40 million like Jamar Chase at the end, why are you going to try and wear your body out?
I got bad news. As you know, the league don't care about that.
I know.
You think the Jaguars are like, well, in 6 years. They're like, let's win a title in 4 and you'll probably retire in 6.
That's fair.
I'll ask you the same question I asked these guys. From a Viking standpoint, a vibes check, how do you view this franchise going into tonight?
Yeah, no, I think they're in a fantastic spot. You know, I think KOC is at the helm and making the decisions, right? I think with him getting the extension, him being there, I think he is the ringleader of that entire band. And he's done a fantastic job of building this roster to his strengths that he has as a play caller, right? I'll beg for him to run the football until I'm blue in the face. He went out and got himself a center and a right guard. That's going to help in that market. But as you were saying earlier, they've put themselves in a position where they don't have a glaring need really anywhere that's a huge weak spot, right? There's pieces that you can improve upon, which is what you're always looking to do in the draft. But I really feel really good about where this franchise is at and where they're headed.
Having played for this team, where do you think as well that this team is at from an organizational front office, Kwesi, KO? Because, I mean, you come from the Spielman Zim, which was a very, very football mentality, like the old school.
Yeah.
How much better shape do you think this franchise is in with the current structure that they have now as opposed to that one?
Yeah, you know, and just being from the outside looking in, being an agent and working with those guys behind the scenes and Rob Brzezinski being another one of the key players there and seeing how they handle their players, how they treat their players, how they treat people outside, like agents on the outside looking in, they are very much, in my opinion, one of my favorite teams to work with, right? Because they're very good about, hey, we're not going to play games, we're not going to blow smoke, this is where we're at, this is how we're moving. And I think that when you can structure an organization like that at the top, it trickles down to the players, right? You watch trash organizations like the Browns or the Jets that sit up there and it's a disaster in the front office, it's a disaster on the field. You see buttoned up front offices when New England was winning all their titles, right? When Philly, Philly, I guess, is kind of buttoned up, but we'll see.
Dude, Philly's hilarious because it's like fire everyone in November and then they win a Super Bowl.
There's just fighting going on all the time.
But, I mean, it trickles down. It really does. If you can have a buttoned up from the top, from the owners down and the Wilfs all the way down to Kwesi, to KOC, to the players, to the leadership, you can tell it's a buttoned up. That's what leads to wins and success in this league.
What was, Jay, what was your favorite Vikings free agency or off-season addition? They spent ridiculous money. They traded for Jordan Mason. What was the biggest, most impactful move?
I mean, I'll give you one guess.
Yeah.
What do you think the O-lineman's going to say?
It's Will Fries.
Yeah, it's Will Fries.
Or was it stealing 40% of one of the best offensive line? To get Ryan Kelly too is crazy.
I mean, I think a lot of Ryan Kelly was also to get Will Fries. Right? You know, it's like let's get him over here and then say, hey, bring your buddy.
Yeah.
Right. But those two signings I thought were fantastic moves by the Vikings. You know, Bradbury came in, he got better, he plateaued. Right, we needed to upgrade at that position. Ed Ingram never really progressed to where we wanted him to be as a high-round draft pick. Blake Brandle's been sufficient. I'm not going to take him down.
Like, before Darisaw got hurt, I feel like he gave up like a pressure per game or something, and then you take one of the best left tackles out, and okay, Brandle struggles.
And they started to expose him a little bit of, hey, let's move him, get him out in space, widen the 3 technique, make him move his feet a little bit more, not play to his strength, which he's a mountain of a human, right? Not just run right into him.
Yeah.
But, to go and address those lines there and then to also retain some of your top talent, I thought that was a big piece, not to let some of those guys go and walk out the building.
If Darisaw is back opening day, and they bring back the O-line with Brandle at left guard, what is your assessment with basically 4/5 of the line now that you're confident in? What is your assessment of the quality of this line opening day compared to 2024 opening day?
I mean, I thought that the 2024 offensive line was, when everyone was healthy, was a top 10 unit. Like, I really did. When everyone was healthy, I mean, you looked at what they were able to do, probably the 10th to 11th best unit. You bring in Ryan Kelly, who's been a Pro Bowler, played in a bunch of different systems, smart as they come. Will Fries, who's right in the prime of what you want an offensive lineman. And then you pair him with two of the best tackles in the NFL, in my opinion, with Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw. I mean, if Blake Brandel can play as well, if not better than he did last year, you're looking at a top 5 offensive line unit.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like it's been a long time since we felt, that way about the Vikings offensive line. All right. According to the internet, the Patriots pick is in at number 4, and it's LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell. So the Patriots adding some meat and potatoes, and now the Cleveland Browns, who were involved in that blockbuster trade, are back on the clock at number 5. Hey, I know Crisco is roaming the crowd here somewhere. Crisco from KS95 morning show. Crisco, where are you?
I'm actually just a little bit in front of you guys right now, and I'm here with Griffin from White Bear Lake, and we've just been kind of going over a little bit of the information that we clearly think we're probably going to go offensive line, but you had a hot take, basically wondering if we're going to trade for who?
Mr. Sauce Gardner. I'm hearing rumors. My sources.
His sources are just 2 phones on the table. I want to clarify that.
Well, this would be, I'm glad this question came up here, because this would be a good time for
reckless speculation.
Our first trip to the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line here.
Yes.
You guys, all right, yeah, make some noise for the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line.
Come on.
The Mount Rushmore of NFL insiders: Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, I don't know, Peter Schrager, maybe a Jay Glazer, but for sure,
Jordan
the
Schultz.
Purple Daily Anonymous tip
Everyone's
line.
chasing their tails now because of this.
So we, all right, so this one actually comes from a guy on Twitter.
Okay. It's not me.
And again, listen, we feel like it is our responsibility to relay. We don't withhold information from you guys, our amazing Purple Daily audience, right, Judd?
No.
All right, I mean, we have respected former lead Vikings beat writer from the Star Tribune here to help vet which of these emails, just to sniff out the real fakes, right?
It's not our job to tell the PD family, like, we don't filter it for you.
No, listen, we are conduits of information. And this one comes from a guy who has sent some direct messages before. I think he's a poker player. He claims to have been correct on 7.5 of the 8 things in entertainment and sports that he's tweeted about in his career. So he's not like a Vikings guy, he's not a football guy, he just has connections in the industry. Mm-hmm. This is wildly speculative and completely irresponsible, but we're gonna deliver this anyways here because what the hell, all right?
Reckless speculation.
According to a source from Playmaker David on Twitter, he's verified. I mean, you can just buy that.
Pay
for
$8 a
$8,
month. Yeah.
I buy it.
So do I.
So do I. Who am I kidding?
I do too.
He says Sauce Gardner to the Vikings has heated back up over the past 48 hours. Sides are hopeful to come to an agreement prior to the draft. Obviously that, I don't know, maybe it happened. But will remain in talks up until the 24th pick if needed. Jordan Addison is, according to Playmaker David, off the table in these discussions.
There you go.
And may only take the 24th overall pick to get it done. Many moving parts and, quote, work to be done, double exclamation points, ambulance sign.
Yeah.
Red alert.
Red alert, yeah.
You know what, though? Sauce Gardner has been tied to the Vikings way too much in the past 12 months to dismiss this. We keep getting Sauce Gardner's, and to Jay's point here, where does he play? Dumpster fire.
Yes.
I think he'd love to get out of it. So it makes let's just say the talks make a lot of sense. I'm giving this a 7 on a scale of believability 1 to 10. I'm giving this a 7.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. So you're saying 7 out of 10 believability.
Well, yeah,
Playmaker David.
Not that it gets done, but that there have been talks.
Dex, we're on a 1 to 10 believability scale.
I would say about an 8. Do we not forget that on March 12th, Sauce Gardner, on his own Twitter account, grabbed a Score North tweet saying, "Would you trade Jordan Addison plus for Sauce Gardner?" I mean, come on.
And then he kind of shot it down, but in a fun, tongue-in-cheek way. Right? Yeah,
in a fun way.
No, a hopeful way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about this, but I'd love for it to happen.
Yeah.
Sauce is a fan of the show.
Okay, Forno and Doogs, on a believability scale, Playmaker David's reckless speculation here, 1 to 10. Sauce Gardner.
Specifically on Sauce or the
Sauce-
idea of
Sauce
acquiring some cornerback?
I'll say
Veteran
Sauce for the
cornerback.
24. Sauce for the 24.
Why exactly are the Jets trading him?
Because they're a dumpster fire.
I hate them.
Because they're the Jets.
But why get rid of one of the best? There's no reason to get rid of him. Like, that makes no sense. If I'm Aaron Glenn, I'm not going to be like, who's my best defensive player? Let's send him to the Vikings. Why?
I'll say like a 3.
Okay.
2 to 3. But the Vikings in the next couple weeks acquiring some veteran cornerback, like an 8 or a 9.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
What I'm buying completely is that there have been talks. Because I believe, so I'm not saying it's going to happen here. All I think he's trying to say is, hey, this is in the ether now, right? And I'm buying that, partially because Sauce had a problem with the previous regime. I mean, Jeremiah, I do believe deep in my heart that most of the players on that team hate Woody Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
The owner's a mess.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't believe in the people that basically are in charge of the franchise, do I believe that Sauce went into somebody's office and said, you're a joke, I'd like out at some point? Yes, absolutely.
Now, Jeremiah is an agent who might have to do a deal with Woody Johnson someday, so...
No, he'll deal with the gym. No, you're fine. You're fine. Rip owners all you want.
Jeremiah's like, I love Woody Johnson. He's amazing.
Guy.
Sign all my players.
Yes and no. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that there is a level of player, and Sauce is at that level, where you can hold your owner and hold your organization hostage a little bit of trade me, don't keep me, pay me, whatever it is. The problem that I see with Sauce Gardner is he didn't have a great year last year.
Yeah.
You know, he's not coming off of a all-pro, Pro Bowl type of year where you can really demand that kind of stuff. If anything, he had the worst year of his career, in my opinion, which might be why the Vikings are looking, going, maybe we can buy him low, with knowing that we get him with Brian Flores and we get him in our building, get him in a culture that fosters and growth and not like, I hate my life, I don't want to go to work every day. That could be a thing where you could look at it from the Vikings perspective and go, hey, we could buy an all-pro caliber player for less than we really want to and then get him in and think that we can fix him. But a lot of coaches have lost their jobs thinking that they can fix players.
Yeah.
Who is the Jets general manager?
Like in a... Oh, like right now?
Right now?
O'Connell's best
The
friend.
new Jets general manager.
Oh.
I can't remember his name, but he was.
KO's
I think
best
he
friend.
was George Payton's right-hand man in Denver.
He was also KO's roommate in college.
Bingo.
Interesting. Oh, really?
Something
That's
to think
interesting.
about. I still put it at a 2 or 3.
Doogie just
New
put 2 and
Jets
2
GM,
together.
KOC,
the
incredibly
scoop couch.
tight.
Listen,
Plausible
man.
to think that maybe there's been some dialogue. In actual reality, though, like the chances of it actually happening, yeah, I'm still at a 2 or a 3.
Okay, the power of Playmaker David right now over this show. Just
holding us hostage.
Just completely holding us hostage.
Not the only one.
Hey, real quick here, I'm going to throw it to Forno here because the 5th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, it scrolled past here, but defensive tackle Mason Graham went 5. So that's a guy that I think, like, in your wildest dreams, you hope that he might fall toward the Vikings, but obviously he goes number 5 overall. So with the top 5 picks are now off the board, Mason Graham to the Cleveland Browns for now.
Yeah, Mason Graham was, per sources, handpicked by Myles Garrett to play next to him. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, he's a gap shooting 3-technique tackle, really explosive in the pass game. I'm a little concerned with him in the run game. I do think that some of his stuff was schemed up because he had Kenneth Grant next to him. So how much of that is going to translate to the next level? I was a little lower on Graham. I had him 19th on my big board when I'm one of the lower ones in the industry. But when it comes to rushing the passer, he prevents offensive linemen from getting their hands on him. And he can get into the backfield lightning quick. And when you can get that kind of penetration, even if you don't get the tackle or the sack, you create havoc. And when you create havoc, good things happen for your defense. So when you have Myles Garrett, he's going to draw so much attention. If you put Mason Graham next to him, it's going to create all these one-on-one opportunities and all these chances for him to make something happen in the backfield because all they're going to care about is stopping Garrett. So it's a really interesting pick for him. they got a tremendous value in the trade. They just better hope Travis Hunter's not a Hall of Famer. Because if he is, they're going to be ridiculed for a decade.
Yeah, I mean,
The
that
Browns
is
are used to it.
Another decade.
Yeah, I was going to say, what,
yeah, another decade. Yeah.
where do you draw that line?
By the way, I would listen for the next 3 hours to Jeremiah and Forno just like talking football terms to each other.
yeah.
We did a pre-show, and I was like, this could get spicy. I agree with Forno, though. I think this is I worry about the size of Mason Graham. Right, everyone's looking for the next Aaron Donald, right? They want the shorter, the quicker, that piece. I stood next to this man at the Michigan Pro Day. He is tiny. Like, he is not a big human being. Now, yes, everything Forno said, he is explosive, he is quick. The best thing he has going for him is he's extremely young. He's a young player that's going to come into the league, and he's coming into a Browns D-line room where he's going to become best friends with Myles Garrett, learn the tricks of the trade. He's going to get beat up a little bit in the run game early in the year and early in his career, but he does have Pro Bowl type potential in his future just with the athletic profile.
I miss, just quickly, you know what I miss? I miss the big, fat defensive tackles.
Oh, there's one from Florida. There's one from Florida.
Jerry
Florida's
Ball.
450 pounds.
That's what I want back. I want the run stopper who you literally run into his gut and you can't go anywhere.
I mean, the Cowboys,
Pat Williams.
anyone from the Eagles division is going to draft him just to try and stop the tush push. They're like, hey, big boy, go settle down and sit down in front of the ball.
just sit cross-legged.
Yeah,
and
just sit there and kumbaya.
All right, so the Raiders by the way, the sixth pick came off the board like 20 minutes later last year. So we're kind of buzzing through this draft at a much quicker pace.
The Raiders ran to the podium.
The Raiders sprinted to the podium to draft Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty.
That's a great pick.
He is not going to be a Bear.
Dude,
right.
That's such a great pick that Vikings fans are applauding the Raiders right now here. Like, yeah, all right. That was pretty good.
He's in the other conference.
Well, like, the Bears were rumored.
I know. I was very concerned. I know that you don't like the Bears, Phil, but the potential of Ben Johnson, Caleb, I don't know yet. But if you give them Ashton Jeanty, who's got that Detroit Lions, you got a lot of ability to cause defenses a lot of trouble.
And you think that the Vikings bolstered their offensive line. What the Bears went out and did, they go get Joe Thuney, they get Drew Dahlman, they get Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright. The question mark is Braxton Jones there at left tackle with the Bears still. But just adding those three interior pieces, you're vaulted to a top third offensive line in the NFL with potential to be a top 10 in the NFL with the Ben Johnson type scheme. And you saw what he was able to do in Detroit when he has those big uglies up front.
Potential hot take as I just take a little.
What are you doing?
Is your whole finger in that barbecue sauce?
Well, it's mine now.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think you want it, right?
Obviously now.
No, I don't think you
I thought that
want
was going to Doogie before.
No. Dukes, you want to share? No, okay.
Pass the bottle.
Is it weird to say, is it a hot take to say that the Raiders have finally, are they figuring things out and they are not the dumpster fire anymore? Oh, here we go.
Pete Carroll, 76 years old.
But I think they need that. They keep hiring like buffoons to run that organization.
He chews gum like a 68-year-old.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
his jaw muscles are elite.
The only thing is I can't figure out, because John Spytek, he sounds like a Bond villain, first off. But maybe him and Pete Carroll and the Raiders might be serviceable. Maybe they're not a joke like they usually are.
That division, though, is brutal.
It's a stacked division.
Like, I mean, you talk about Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. They're a distant fourth in that division. And you're not going to make any news in the NFL until you can at least be the number 2 team in your division.
And Mark Davis still owns them. And again, that's another guy. Like, I don't trust an organization. Like, I suppose if Brady was going to come in and literally own the team, I'd be like, I'm curious about this. But when you got Woody Johnson with the Jets, Mark Davis, who is just a goofball, and nothing like his dad, who back in his day was a great football man. I'm curious to see how this works out.
I don't trust a guy with that haircut. Mark Davis.
He's got
what are you doing there, guy?
It's a great
listen,
cut.
I know I'm throwing stones in a glass house right now.
Easy there, bud.
But you know, he could take a note from old Macadac here. Right?
Just let it go.
Just Mark, buddy, come on now.
Him and John Cena, shave the heads, dude.
No,
Just
Cena got the
shave
hair
heads.
transplant, it sounds like.
Yeah, I could tell. You mean the bird's nest that wasn't in the middle of his head anymore?
Davis just needs to use some product. That's all he did. He does not use product, much like myself.
A lot of stones being thrown and a lot of glass houses up here.
I don't know.
I got the bad hair. I'm not saying nothing about hair.
I don't know.
Okay, the Jets pick is in at 7. We're waiting on it right now, but we are buzzing through this draft here right now.
This is a great draft.
This was my biggest gripe about the first round. There's no reason to have 10 minutes for every pick.
No.
Right, especially the top 10, right? Like the top 5 could be done in the first 10 minutes of the draft. Like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done. I get it when you get to rounds like 2 and 3 and there are some more trades. You're trying to figure out who did we have a first round grade on that now is in the second and that piece. But the first round should fly.
Does this mean teams aren't talking trade?
Yes. I think when it happens this quick, they've had their heart set on a guy. He's still on the board. They're entertaining no trades.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, boys, before we get into the 7th pick, the 8th pick here and move our way along, let's carve out some time, at least for a few of us. We can maybe sprinkle these in throughout the night to give our hottest Vikings takes. All right, we do this on Mondays during the season. We deliver at least one every week in the off season. So I'd love the sports dad to hit the first T-ball here. Our hottest, does Judd need to hold the barbecue sauce here? Grandpa's barbecue
My finger's
sauce?
not in that one,
Is
so
that
you're
the
good.
one
This
you
one's
just
sealed.
said?
No, that one's sealed.
This is sealed,
That's
right?
sealed. Yep, you're good.
Okay.
Judd, I promise.
Okay, give us your hottest current Vikings take.
Oh, my hottest current Vikings take, because I have a lot of faith. I really like what they've done. I have a lot of faith in this team. My current hottest take is this. I think at a minimum, this team is going to be in the NFC Championship game this season.
This
season. This season with McCarthy.
Pour it over your head.
Oh, hold on. Yep. Oh, there we go. I just love what they've done. I think they're going in the right direction. And more importantly, I think, Phil, you brought up O'Connell post-game rants, and he was mad. And he gets mad. Like, you don't see it. He doesn't like to show up, but he gets really mad. And what I saw was a guy who realized this still isn't good enough. And Jeremiah, I think the thing with Kevin is he is a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. But he reaches his limit. And I think that Rams game when McVay just schooled him, his old boss, I think that was his limit. I think this team is going to really take another step. And that step now is just one thing, playoff run.
Well, it's just like he's a former player. And we talk about this on the O-line committee with Alex Boone all the time. We have a little bit of crazy psychoticness that are still inside of us, right? And it's good. We can push it down. But every now and then,
Alex, it's not even inside of him. It's just outward.
He just idles there, right? But I think what we saw in Kevin O'Connell after that game was that competitor came out in him where, hey, I just got my tail whooped by Dad, right? Like that was and he just absolutely handed it to me. I'm upset, I'm mad, and I'm going to fix that, right? And that's how any good NFL player came back to work the next year, came back to practice the next day after a bad practice. You look yourself in the mirror, you self-evaluate, and you go. And I agree with you, Judd. It's good to see the emotion out of head coaches. What's even better is to watch them put a plan and implement that plan as they go through and not rule themselves through emotion, but allow that emotion to formulate a plan and then execute that plan all the way through this offseason.
Yeah. Smart people being mad is good to see.
Yes.
Dumb people being mad is very dangerous.
But funny, but enjoyable.
Oh, yeah,
dumb people being mad is fantastic. When I can school Alex up and just let him go, it's one of my favorite things to do in life.
I'll go next year if you could hand over the barbecue sauce.
I dumped it on my head, don't you remember?
I'm kind of piggybacking off of what both you guys said in that I made this a write that down prediction a few months ago, and I want to bring it to the hottest takes discussion and get your guys' thoughts. I think, I'll preamble this by saying, I think it's going to be hard to win a Super Bowl, even with a really good roster coming off a 14-win season with a first-year starting quarterback. However, my hottest Vikings take is, I think the Vikings win their first Super Bowl within the next 3 seasons.
Huh? Yeah.
And I'll put some logic behind it. There's certain boxes. Now, some of it's up to chance in that you have to have a good enough team. You have to be above a certain bar. And like every year there's maybe 4, 5, 6 teams that kind of clear that bar. If you're above that bar, you're in the mix, you're in the hunt. You have to stay healthy. You hope to play home playoff games. There's all these different factors that kind of go into it. But the things that you can control to get to that bar, the Vikings check a lot of these boxes. Ownership through front office, largely incredible. Head coach, now he's got to win a playoff game at some point, but I think we all believe that Kevin O'Connell is one of the 10-ish best head coaches in the league. You know, there's the Andy Reids and there's the entire AFC West of Hall of Famers, Defense has to be top 5 scoring, pass rush, creative, fool opposing quarterbacks, right? But the other big factor, and I don't know if you guys know this, I was a little hard on Kirk Cousins over the years.
No.
Right? Breaking news.
No.
I never heard that.
I know. And one of my biggest beefs was in the highest leverage moments, the 3rd and must pass. They know you're going to pass. It's 3rd and 8. You got to dial it up anyways. Or it's high leverage. Now, he had a great 2022 with the 8 fourth quarter comebacks. I want a quarterback. The 4,000 yards is great, all that. I want a quarterback who is nails on 3rd and pass. And J.J. McCarthy, in his football life to this point, high school, college, you can talk about, oh, he's a handoff merchant at Michigan. Okay, but like Bo Nix was a schemed up short pass merchant in his career. On 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, high leverage, J.J. McCarthy was awesome at Michigan. And I think he's going to carry it over into his professional career. If that happens with all the other things and the weapons the Vikings have, the offensive line, they're going to be above that bar for the next 3 years. That's my hottest take.
And the run game, the offensive line. See, I don't want my guy in 3rd and 10, but I sure as hell like 3rd and 4. And so, like, when you go and improve your line, when you go and actually trade for a guy, a back who can bully his way through, Jeremiah, like that's where I think they're getting to the right place. And then McCarthy can be great, but like I don't want to. The thing that O'Connell has had too often had to do is call plays that there isn't really a good play for on 3rd down.
Yeah, you know, the piece that I love too about what JJ might be able to bring to this, like you said, Phil, is how many times have we watched Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, who aren't crazy athletes, escape for 20 yards up the middle?
Yeah.
Right, just be able to go. Kirk was, listen, never going to do that, right? That was going to be like the baby deer. I mean, I played with Phillip Rivers. When he would ever run, we'd all just cry, like, please get down before you hurt yourself, right? Like, I think McCarthy can bring that element where that linebacker that's playing there can't just turn and run and bail to the center of the field where, hey, where's Jefferson coming over? Where's Hawkinson going and turning? Because JJ has that athletic, but he put his foot in the ground and go get 10 or 15, right? The middle of the field is going to open up for JJ McCarthy. Again, Kevin O'Connell does such a great job of putting good schemes together for him. The biggest question for me, and Phil, you know this, I don't buy rookies. And for my opinion, J.J. McCarthy is still a rookie. He has a lot to prove for me. And Declan, if you don't mind, I'll take my hot take here for a second. My hot take is that J.J. McCarthy is going to really struggle through the first 5 weeks of the year and then turn it on. I think that there's going to be a big growing curve for him as a guy that hasn't played football in a year. That's a really hard thing to do, especially making the jump from college to the NFL, right? You're going to struggle. He's going to throw some interceptions. He's going to have some bad games. He's going to have some great moments. But we have to stay patient with him as a fan base, and we have to stay patient with him as we go through and understand there's going to be a learning curve. But then the back half of the year, I think he's going to really turn it on and go and lead us to a playoff chance.
And that is why the Kirk Cousins rumors don't sit well with me.
No.
I don't want that. I don't want to have anyone there where the fan base can chant for him.
Correct. If we say his name one more time, is he going to appear like Beetlejuice?
Yeah. No, Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry.
For the 5 people that got that joke in the audience.
Thank you.
Hey, 2 picks off the board here as we get close to the end of the first hour of the 2025 NFL Draft and the 2025 Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. The Jets have selected offensive tackle Armand Membu at number 7. And the Panthers are taking wide receiver Tet McMillan from Arizona. So, Forno, give us a couple thoughts on these guys. I know Jeremiah's all worked up because McMillan said at some point he doesn't like to watch film.
You're dead to me.
I mean,
don't care.
I don't know. He's a wide receiver. Just go catch the ball.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that worked for Treadwell.
I love the Membo pick for the Jets. He doesn't have to flip sides. And he arguably had the best tape of any offensive tackle this past year at Missouri. Nobody really knew him until this past year, but he was tremendous last year as well. Ted McMillan, traditional X receiver, kind of like T. Higgins, but not exactly. He's got the size. He's got a relatively slender frame, and he's a surprisingly good yard after catch guy. Not a burner, but once he gets going, you won't catch him. So if he gets in the open field on those crossing routes, he'll be able to take it to the house, but he's not going to run by you. He's going to have to use angles. He's got good field vision. And then once he takes it upfield, with some of those like RPOs and stuff that they'll run to try and maximize Bryce Young. I think Ted McMillan's a really good option. But what's interesting is they took an X receiver last year in Xavier Legette. So now they're a little bit redundant in that room. So that's a really intriguing thing that we need to look forward to as the Panthers start playing this year and beyond.
One thing I'll be watching come late October into the trade deadline, Carolina adds a receiver.
Oh, yeah.
What's their record 6-7 weeks in? The chatter of Adam Thielen back here in purple.
What do we think?
That the Panthers will do Adam a solid.
Okay.
If they're not in contention, Adam is going to get traded somewhere.
Yeah.
Why not back here in purple?
I like it. I'm all for that. I mean, look, Jefferson and Addison are great. TJ Hawkinson's hopefully now fully healthy, and I know he kind of had a rocky return from his injury, but I like that one a lot. I mean, they need a third veteran wide receiver. He can still run some routes a little bit. He doesn't have to be the man anymore here, and what better guy to have in that room than a guy like Adam Thielen, who's been around and I'm sure wants to come back here too.
I keep coming back to one thing here. You are going to need for 3 games a wide receiver too. Addison's getting suspended, I think, for 3 games. You cannot fall asleep on the 405 and have a cop haul you out of your car.
You can't?
No, we all get a little tired.
Yeah. So he's going to get suspended for 3 games. So I do think the question is, how much do you trust Jalen Naylor to bump up to the 2, or would you go get a guy who plays, but then for those 3 games plays a very important role?
Yep, no, you're right about the 2 or 3 game suspension. There's been some interesting rumblings too, like Brett Coleman, noted NFL YouTuber, who also has connections in the league with the scouting world. His last mock draft that he posted this morning, I think, on his YouTube channel, had the Vikings trading Jordan Addison to the Patriots for their 2nd-round pick, and then the Vikings drafting Ted McMillan falling to 24. Obviously, that's not going to happen now that he went, but you know, we get some blowback from the audience whenever we bring up the Jordan Addison trade discussion, but hey, are you going to wind up paying 2 receivers a ridiculous amount of money in a couple years from now? So at some point, it's likely he gets traded. I would personally ride another year with that rookie contract for sure, and J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I think as long as you have him cheap, keep him. But I agree with you, get rid of him before you just let him walk. Right, before he's, I mean, especially if you want to say grow with McCarthy, let's not take our big weapons away from McCarthy in his first year. Right, in his first year, let's keep people around him, and then let's get something for Addison going into next year instead of just waiting until he's a free agent and putting yourself in a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins situation.
Yeah.
The only thing about that is, I will say this. He's had some problems off the field so far, and Jeremiah, as you know, the team knows way more than we do.
Oh, yeah.
So the only thing where I think you would consider moving off of him sooner would be if you know that there's things that are going to come up.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, especially with this organization, when you're a winning organization, you put yourself in a position where you don't have to hold on to those guys.
Right.
Right. You can select the type of character of guys that you want on your team. So that's a great point, Judd. You know, if the team knows that there's maybe something else coming down the pipe,
right,
let's make sure someone else pays for our sins, not us.
Back before your time here, I covered quite a few guys who they just bit their lip and said, I hope Corin Robinson doesn't get in a high-speed chase down 169, and it didn't work out so well.
Were you around for the Love Boat guy?
Oh, yeah, 2005.
Did you break that news?
I didn't break it. But Seifert and I actually covered that, one of the weirdest stories you will ever cover. And then I went to the trial, and the highlight of the trial was where on the stand, I kid you not, Mo Williams talked about strip clubs and how he took his mom to strip clubs, and it was not a big deal to have naked people.
Everything's fine, yeah.
He's like, I take my mom to strip clubs.
Yeah. You want to talk about the Bears or the boat?
Yeah, that was another one.
Oh, that's a great one.
Culpepper, the Bears. Okay.
Hey, let's throw it back to our guy Crisco from KS95, who's hanging out with Purple Daily listeners and Vikings fans somewhere in the audience here at the Fillmore. Crisco.
Yes, we're up top right now. I'm here with Kyle from La Crosse. I have a personal hot take. Declan, I want your barbecue sauce. I'll take the rest of that, please. And then no questions asked. And then you have a very hot take followed by a question for the group. What's your hot take first?
All right, so this is a pretty hot take. I'm starting off pretty spicy. My hot take is that Vikings should pick Jalen Milroe with their 24th pick.
Whoa!
I told you it was a hot take.
Whoa, dude! Wait, the quarterback? The quarterback?
Take his microphone away.
Oh.
Hey, you wanted hot
Take
takes.
his microphone away.
And
Okay, hold on. What?
We'll get to the hot take, but they also want to ask a question up here. What's your question?
Question is, so Jalen Milroe, just real quick, needs some competition for JJ. Kevin O'Connell needs another side project, and he's got a lot of upside. My question is, if they don't take Jalen Milroe, how soon do they get a deal done with Kirk Cousins?
Okay.
Very quarterback heavy.
I'm seething, dude.
Okay. This is.
You're turning red.
I love how the first two questions that Crisco has pried out here both segue incredibly into the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line.
We're getting it.
Here we go.
Yeah,
It's like
we're
you
gonna-
drew it up, baby.
We're going to get to the next item
my God.
that came in here through the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line, presented by Padres, Judd.
Oh my God! You know what? It's simply a fantastic beer. In fact, I believe the bar over to my left here has it. Padres Brewing, absolutely fantastic. I've been talking now about the Red Chimney for quite some time. Recently featured in the Star Tribune as a beer to try this summer. And I believe at the bar they have Patty's Premium Irish Lager. I'm going to tell you right now, it's called a session beer. It means that you can drink a bunch of it and feel good still. You can go out on the pontoon and enjoy it. Padres Brewing, absolutely great. And also stop by. They're located in the old Land O'Nod factory at the corner of Broadway and Central Avenues Northeast. Make sure you stop in and pick up some of their fantastic beer that you can also find in liquor stores and bars throughout the Twin Cities.
Yeah, also the Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, Two Men in a Junk Truck, Continental Diamond, Park Dental, Roku, Bricksworth, and the North Loop. Thank you to them for putting on an awesome pre-party today. That was so much fun for those that could make it across the street. Fans in attendance tonight, by the way, at the Fillmore, and watching on YouTube within the continental United States, and listening via podcast on demand later on can all win really cool prizes. You can scan the QR code on the screen and enter to win and receive a Roku Pro Series 75-inch TV and a 75-inch wall mount. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I thought you were gonna try to win it. I was like, Phil, I don't think you can win this TV.
The Mackies have plenty of Roku TVs, I feel like. Yeah, and so courtesy of Roku, 3 winners will receive a Roku streaming stick as well. 3 winners, a Sonicare toothbrush, travel case, charger. That's for Jeremiah, who's traveling and forgot his floss. And 1 winner will receive a G-Shock 2100 series watch, courtesy of Continental Diamond. You can register and scan the QR code on the screen or enter at scorenorth.com/win. And the merch, some of us are wearing swag up here. scorenorth.com/shop for the QB Rehab School shirts, Before I Dies, scorenorth.com/shop. Okay, real quick. Of note for the Vikings, a name that has fallen in some of the mocks but is now gone off the board at number 9. The New Orleans Saints are not taking Shedeur Sanders. They're not taking Jackson Dart. They're taking offensive lineman Kelvin Banks Jr. with the number 9 overall pick. Before we get to the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line, Forno, your thoughts on Banks? We had seen some movement that he was falling to 24 in some of these, but a top 10 pick and the quarterbacks have now fallen past the Saints.
Yeah, it's interesting that Banks is going top 10. There's a lot of steam over the last few days. When I watch him, I worry a little bit about some of the vertical stuff, like really dealing with speed rushers. But he kind of has a little bit of that hip torque that I see with Christian Darrisaw. So it's very
Hip
interesting
torque.
that he's going here. I think that there were better offensive linemen potentially. I think they might have been able to trade down and get one. But I do think it's interesting and potentially good for the Vikings. The offensive line run, 3 in the first 10 picks. So that could push other guys down. I noticed with my mock draft tracker, D tackles started going down to the Vikings more than they had in the previous 3 weeks. So a Derek Carman, a Kenneth Grant, a Walter Nolan might be there if we continue to see this O-line run. So keep hoping for that O-line run. It'll help us.
Yeah. So we'll keep you guys posted. We're almost through the top 10 picks. So we're actually almost halfway to the Vikings pick. We're moving at a really good pace here.
Greatest draft of all time.
No, it's moving. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. It's time for the
Come
Purple
on.
Daily Anonymous tip line.
Give it to me.
Reckless speculation.
Now, you guys have seen the full version of this email. At least a couple of you have here.
Yes.
Judd saw it for sure.
Yeah.
Dex, you may have seen the full version of this email.
I can't read.
Yep. Me,
Yeah, the rest of you are questionable reading levels on the stage here.
We'll take care of you.
But so it's from Anonymous, and he says, "Gentlemen, I'm about to trust you with my life with an anonymous Purple Daily tip. I tried to think of a way where I could tell you guys this information without giving away my identity, but I have no clue on how that would be possible. So I trust that you guys will come up with a way to cover this up and couch it in a way where no one gets in trouble. I don't want my connections to get fired." And then he lays out a very specific set of circumstances, and we are couching this so that he doesn't get in trouble.
Now, this traces back to, I believe it was last week. He said that you did such a good job of mangling the identity of the person that he now trusts you to do equally as good a job here.
Is this a new business opportunity for us? You send in extremely sensitive private information, gossipy, speculative information, and we will disseminate it publicly without revealing any identities. It could be sports. It could be anything.
You know what it could be?
Oh, God.
It could be Twin Cities Media.
Oh, God. I love Judd so much. So here's our couched version of this anonymous emailer. Anonymous has a very close connection to the NFL information ecosystem, let's just say. Someone who knows a lot about NFL draft strategy and what's going on behind the scenes. And they say, quote, "I made a comment to this connection about how different this draft is for the Vikings because they aren't trying to find a quarterback." The connection responded, "Oh, yes, they are interested in finding a quarterback in this draft. Not because the Vikings are unsure about J.J. McCarthy. They apparently still really like J.J. McCarthy, so you can breathe easy. But rather, the Vikings are doing a lot of work on the potential of drafting their backup quarterback in this draft. So I don't think it's Milroe with the 24th overall pick. That would be insane. This is now my own conjecture. I don't think they draft a quarterback if they only have 4 picks.
Correct.
But if they accumulate more picks, could a Kyle McCord from Syracuse, a Max Brosmer from Minnesota, don't get us puking about your cosplaying Patrick Mahomes wannabe Nebraska quarterback.
Dylan Raiola will be a first-round pick in 3 years.
He's stolen a man's identity. What are you talking about?
It's a good guy to steal.
But
Could be worse.
I think on this one, I hate to say this, but this is one of those trust us. This is really solid information. And it sounds like the Vikings have put in a lot of legwork prepping to draft a quarterback potentially in, I don't know, day 2 or day 3 range.
So my question becomes this. Is this the O'Connell play to get a young quarterback who he thinks that he can develop? Clearly, it indicates more trust in McCarthy, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but then it also gets you a quarterback, let's say in the 5th or 6th round, on the cheap. So now you're not paying a veteran to come in. I mean, when you think about it in the context of who Kevin O'Connell is, I think it makes more sense than it does initially when you're like, hold on a second, draft a quarterback.
It's the idea of what San Francisco did with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. Right, you had your 3rd round, your 3rd overall, and then your quarterback room, you have 2 young quarterbacks on rookie deals. You're paying them a total of like $2 million a year, right? It's not that bad. The biggest concern for me is you're not talking about 2 rookie quarterbacks in your room, right? J.J. McCarthy, in my eyes, until he gets to it, is a rookie, right? And so you're saying I have 2 rookie quarterbacks in my room with a guy that got dinged last year. Am I ready to put my hope in a 5th round Kyle McCord if week 7, week 11, for horrible sake, we're fighting for the division of the playoffs, and all of a sudden we're putting in a 5th round quarterback to come in instead of a guy that could be more proven that's won in this league before?
Yeah, and I will say this. After the 2023 season, the Wilfs went out of their way to say that Cousins' injury was not an excuse for the lack of success.
Yeah.
So there would be an internal, like if it didn't work, O'Connell's in no jeopardy of being fired.
No.
But I will say, hell hath no fury like a Wilf scorned.
Let's pause the QB2 thing for just a second because I want to throw it to the scoop sofa as well. But some major action here.
What we got?
In the last 2 picks. So yeah, we have 2 picks in here right now.
Pretty big ones.
Dex, if you have the information, go ahead and fire away.
Yeah, so Loveland
Colston Loveland.
Colston Loveland, J.J. McCarthy's guy, who may or may not be hanging out with each other, right?
Yeah, he's a source very close to J.J. McCarthy.
So Colston Loveland is going to the Chicago Bears. The Bears have taken Colston Loveland.
He's a good player, man. He's a good tight end.
Player.
Yep. And then the pick before that to the San Francisco 49ers, Georgia defensive end, edge rusher, Mykel Williams. Mykel Williams, the number 11 pick. So we're buzzing through here. It looks like the Cowboys are on the clock, or I guess the Niners are after the Bears, but the Cowboys are now on the clock here, folks. I want to throw it to the scoop sofa here and go to Doogie. We're talking QB2. You know, there's some Purple Daily Anonymous tip line steam that, hey, they're doing a lot of homework on drafting a quarterback. Adam Schefter has now said 2 times this week, he's mentioned Kirk Cousins and Vikings in the same sentence when probing for ideas for a landing spot if he gets traded from Atlanta. So I'll throw that at you and then any other QB2 steam you might have.
I wouldn't dismiss it, Phil. Why dismiss it? Now, Kirk, I'm sure, wants to play, okay? But where is that spot where he's playing immediately? I don't necessarily see it. You guys can certainly offer some blowback, but where is Kirk seeing the field in September? Cleveland. So once he wraps his arms around the idea of being a number 2, the relationship here is still rock solid. I do think the Vikings' number 2 quarterback comes via a trade. They're not signing Ryan Tannehill or Carson Wentz or you name an available free agent. I'm just saying, put it this way, if I'm putting Sauce Gardner at a 2 to 3, Cousins is above a 5. I'm not saying it's a 9 or 10, but it's certainly in that it's possible category. Let me add one more thing. Andrew Berry, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's good friend, the Cleveland Browns general manager, just had a session with reporters in Cleveland. He said, do not rule out the possibility of us moving up tonight. They have 33, they have 36.
I like it, yeah.
Could the Vikings at all spin 24 for 33 and 36 while also tossing in 97? Or is that just crazy talk that the Browns would not do that? But does that make, Jeremiah, does that make any sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
97 and 24 for 33 and 36.
Absolutely. We need more picks. We need more picks. This is, we talked about this on the line committee. This is historically the deepest draft class there has ever been, right? Because it's all the COVID babies. They have their 6th year. You have all the 5th-year guys that don't have a COVID year. You have your true seniors and your true juniors that all came out. There's going to be guys that have 3rd or 4th round grades that are getting drafted in the 6th and the 7th. You want some late picks. If there's a draft to try and package up and get some late day 3 picks, this is definitely it. If there's guys sitting at 24 that you feel like you might be able to still get at 34, 36, I say you do it.
I do want to, on the Kirk thing, because I heard some shrieking in the audience when we mentioned this.
That was Jeremiah and me.
Yeah. It was you guys over there?
Yes.
Just show of voices here. Are you interested in Kirk Cousins as a backup?
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's some double middle fingers down here.
Double birds. Double birds.
Didn't all you used to
Buffalo
love
High
him?
School in the house.
So let me get this right. You prefer Sam Howell? Who wants Sam Howell as the Vikings backup
They're
quarterback?
booing Sam Howell.
I do.
As a
Forno's in on Sam
As
Howell.
a lover of bad quarterbacks, I'd love Sam Howell on the Vikings.
Stop it.
Come on, it's the QB.
So okay, Aiden O'Connell,
AOC,
AOC, and KOC.
Huh?
So who would you take as the number 2, Forno? Who would you, if you had your pick of it, of like what we're thinking, stop. Whoever said Aaron Rodgers,
Don't do
just
that.
stop.
Don't do that to the show.
Who would it be?
I would take Kirk Cousins. Now, what's the money look like?
Well, you know what it always is.
I'm not paying him.
But the Falcons are, like, you'd be taking on some of the tab to... Right.
Yeah,
now,
I mean, to me, $10 million is a sweet spot, but I'm not going any higher than that. What's the draft compensation I need to send to Atlanta?
No.
So I'm concerned about that. I'm not giving up a lot, but if you're just asking me on the surface, give me Cousins over O'Connell or Howell.
Yeah, okay. To piggyback, I'm with Dukes, by the way. The number 1 anti-Kirk Cousins guy on this podcast, if he's in as a backup, and it's obviously backup money after you get done eating some of the Falcons. And here's another caveat, all right? We've talked about this on the podcast, but for those who are just jumping in tonight for the first time, it was 6 or 7 years ago that the Houston Texans decided, we regret the Brock Osweiler contract. Yeah, we made a mistake on that. Just like the Falcons are now regretting the Kirk contract. They were so desperate to clear cap space and to just get him out of the building because it's weird, we benched him. They attached a second-round pick to Osweiler, and the Browns took on a chunk of the contract. So for the Falcons, I'm saying, listen, we saved some cap space this year. We can make it work. We'll take on, so Schefter's saying they're asking for a team to pick up $20 million of the 45 in guarantees. I say, listen, we'll meet you at like 10, 12, $15 million, and you kick in a pick along with Kirk, and we'll float you back like a sixth or something. Fleece the Falcons and get an established backup quarterback.
Get him, Judd. Get him, Judd. I can't handle this. Get him, please.
Well, first of all, if you get a second-round pick, but here's my problem with the entire thing, if I'm O'Connell. And look, I mean, he and Kirk, I think, are still good friends. I think O'Connell talks to, like, every QB. Like, he just calls them randomly on Mondays after games. Hey, I saw the film of your game. You're great, man. Hang in there. But my issue comes back to, like, the more I think this through, I don't want to do this to McCarthy. And my issue with Cousins is, having covered him, I don't know I can trust him to what he tells me. Hey, I'll be a backup.
Well, it's not his choice.
Well, but then McCarthy starts to struggle, and now we got people calling. I would just like to make this cleaner than Kirk Cousins being back here. But, I mean, if I'm going to get a second-round pick, I mean, the Falcons are so poorly run right now. Terry Fontenot, I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but the reality is I would have some real reservations about it, but that doesn't mean I couldn't see it happening.
Okay, on the Sam Howell front, so Forno's in on Sam Howell. Interception and sack machine makes me nervous. I mean, Jay, you're offensive lineman in the league for 6, 7 years. You can't, like, the analytics even show that taking sacks is more detrimental to, like, win probability than throwing interceptions, because it kills more drives. But if you could tell me that Sam Howell was once highly regarded as maybe a first-round pick, and then he kind of tumbled after a bad year at North Carolina. I trust Kevin O'Connell. If he were to say, yeah, those stats might look bad, but if he comes into quarterback rehabilitation school, I'm kind of at the point where I trust Kevin O'Connell to make this decision on QB2.
I go back to what Judd and I started the show with, of you want to solidify J.J. McCarthy, you are my guy, right? There is no backup plan, right? We don't have a backup plan, J.J. We're all in on you. If Kirk's sitting in the wings, no NFL player is okay with being a backup. Like, there's not a single NFL player that's willing to walk in that still feels like they are a starting caliber player in this league, which I do believe Kirk does, that's willing to sit there and go, yeah, I don't want to play. I just want to sit here and chart, right? Kirk isn't at that point in his career yet. And to your sack machine point, did you not watch him play last year? He couldn't move. Like, Kirk is as much of a sack machine right now as anyone in the league. And yes, the Achilles will be another year better. Yes, but he's also 37, 36, somewhere in that range, where if he has to go in, he's not mobile. He changes a lot of the things. Him and JJ are very different players. I'm looking for a backup quarterback that is comparable to J.J. McCarthy, so that if J.J. gets hurt, I can then bring someone in that can run the bootleg.
Like Jalen Milroe.
That can run, not Jalen Milroe.
So what you're saying is,
you're
saying is you didn't like when Josh Dobbs replaced Kirk Cousins and the skill set didn't really translate?
Didn't really translate. I'll tell you this, I'd take Daniel Jones over Kirk Cousins.
Oh,
That
yeah.
might be a
Well,
terrible...
they wanted him.
Right?
That was their guy. They wanted
yeah.
Jones back. He said no.
Right, but I still think you need to find someone that matches JJ's skill set more than Kirk. Those two are polar opposite, pocket passer, a little bit more of a guy that can bring mobility to it. I mean, KOC's good enough to change his scheme on the run as you need to, but that just adds more pieces to the puzzle.
And Jay, I mean, you've still got no question in my mind, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a free agent when training camp starts, and he's going to say a prayer every day that McCarthy's Achilles busts.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, too. And I don't totally trust Kirk not to, again, say, oh, I'll be a backup, and then be like, well, the kid's struggling a little bit, KO, what do you think? And so I just don't want the distraction.
Yeah, I'm not going to die on the hill. I'm just more open-minded than I was,
I can't put it to bed till it's gone.
Yeah.
He can't hurt you anymore, Phil. It's okay.
I know. That's why, I tell Judd. Judd, he can't hurt Judd anymore. Can't hurt you.
I'm worried about Rodgers. I'm actually more concerned about Rodgers.
So, well, I mean, Rodgers, the way this is shaping up here, just an update. And by the way, it looks like Forno just texted me this. Nick Harris, FWST on Twitter, is the first to note that the Cowboys are putting focus on Alabama right guard Tyler Booker with the number 12 overall pick.
That makes a lot of sense.
Interesting.
So we are now officially halfway to the Vikings pick. We are halfway. I think that warrants the Vice President of Skull Chant Operations getting us back in the mix here. John, if you could do the honors, if you'd be so kind. Yes. And by the way, the halftime entertainment is going to be the snake draft of the week here, live at the Fillmore. The 2025 Purple Daily Draft Party, presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, Grandpa's Barbecue, Two Men in a Truck, Roku, Neos Elite Performance. Which, talk about Neos Elite Performance here before we get into more important business during this draft party.
It would be my pleasure as I slip on my sports dad glasses because I'm old and now I can read my copy, which is huge.
There. It's great.
Guess what, guys? I see you out there, the guys who are around my age, and guess what? I bet you played sports at one time, you golfed, you loved life. Well, now there's some wear and tear. May I recommend to you the experts at Neos Elite Performance, because if chronic pain is holding you back, Neos Elite brings cutting-edge regenerative medicine and cellular IV therapy that's designed to get you going again without invasive procedures. This is what they call white glove service. You don't have to go to the doctors. You don't have to go to the hospital. They're going to come to your house, and they are going to take care of that back, knee pain, whatever is ailing you. You can stop your suffering. Neos Elite's therapy is designed to reduce pain, restore function, and get you back to doing what you love. And we have, for those of you out here in the audience and also watching, a special offer tonight. Draft party special for those is if you reference Purple Daily, you get $500 off a cellular IV therapy treatment. NeosElite.com. Check them out. Again, $500 off cellular IV therapy treatment. NeosElite.com.
Yeah, also a shout out again to our friends at Underdog. You can use promo code SCORE, S-K-O-R, and you'll still get a deposit match up to $1,000. That extender's going on for the NBA playoffs. Of course, fantasy football never ends at Underdog, but plenty of great options for the NBA, NHL, PGA too. And that extender will go for new series that start in the second round when the Wolves win in 5. So go to use promo code SCORE at Underdog on the App Store or Google Play Store.
Wolves in 5. Wolves in 5. Let's go. Oh, we're doing it? Okay. Wolves in 5. Wolves in 5.
What about Wild in 5?
6. Wild in 6.
How's my hockey team doing tonight?
I don't think the puck's
Do I have it right?
Yet, right?
Kaprizov just scored?
Oh, it did drop.
Hey. He did. 1-0. Kirill again. Unbelievable series so far.
Wow. Kaprizov. Over to
Kirill.
Yeah.
1-0.
By the way, let's put that QR code back up on the screen here from earlier too, because we are giving away a glorious Roku Pro Series 75-inch TV and a 75-inch wall mount. You can just scan the QR code and enter to win. Also, courtesy of Roku, 3 winners will receive a Roku streaming stick. 3 winners are going to receive a Sonicare toothbrush, travel case, charger, extra brush head. Keep those teeth clean. Courtesy of Park Dental. We appreciate Park Dental. And 1 winner is going to receive a G-Shock 2100 series watch courtesy of Continental Diamond. So yeah, hit that QR code on the screen, whether you're here at the Fillmore or watching live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Just a reset because we're halfway to the Vikings pick. I'm Phil Mackey, the sports dad Judd Zolgad over here, executive producer Declan Goff, our guy Jeremiah Searles, former Vikings offensive lineman, and one of 3 members of the O-line committee YouTube channel and podcast, which is now a part of the Score North family, and our scoop sofa with Darren, Doogie, Wolfson, and Tyler Forness over here, making us smarter throughout the night. If you haven't already, if you're watching on YouTube, click that like button and the subscribe button and help us keep growing this amazing community of Vikings fans. I know we've been kind of flying here for 90 minutes, but yeah, it's just like, it's really cool to see all the support for the podcast, for each other, like people that have made friends through this community. It's just, I mean, people coming up to Jeremiah talking about the F1 minute on O-line committee. Like it's
yes.
So we so greatly appreciate you guys supporting us, your favorite football team, and this has become just the most fun night of the year for us. So thank you guys as we get to the halfway point of
Give yourself a round of applause.
The Purple Daily Draft Party. Thank you guys. All right, your halftime entertainment here as we wait for more picks to come across and we get closer and closer to the Vikings pick. And I believe we have a very well-crafted interactive graphic on the screen. It's time for the snake draft of the week.
Okay.
Now it's a weekly competition between the three of us here, but Jeremiah and the Scoop Sofa guys, feel free to shout out analysis of these picks. Jeremiah's probably played with some of the guys we're going to draft here, so he can provide some candid opinions.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. So as you'll see on the screen here, Judd has the first overall pick and 14 career victories. Declan has the second overall pick with 9 career victories, and I've got the third pick and the wraparound in this snake draft of the second round, and 15 career victories. So gentlemen, any questions about the topic here? Biggest Vikings draft busts?
I don't think so. I got a good list here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm solid.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'm going to try and type in the visuals here. I think I can do this.
Wow,
We're ramping up the graphics and the technology.
You're doing
here.
graphics, participating in this thing.
That's right.
I've got my notepad.
So Judd, you're on the clock here with the first overall pick.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness, I hate having the first pick.
Oh, come on.
How many guys are on your big board right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 guys.
I love it.
15 guys on my big board. First, second, third. I drew the line at the third round. That's it then. No fourth rounders.
Asher Allen is saved
That's
from
not
purgatory
fair.
here?
No, he would be because he's the third round pick. I'm sorry. I drew the line after the third round.
So Marcus McCauley's not safe.
So Marcus McCauley and his dad, who wouldn't go away, they're not safe. The old man was there at every practice. It's like, dude, go home. It's pro football.
Take a deep breath.
Pro football. You know what? Parents don't belong in pro football.
Oh, I agree with that statement.
Like, I never want to see a mom or dad, other than game day, that's fine. Beyond that, never show up at practice. Don't talk to your kid. Let your kid live his life.
Agreed.
Okay, but that's just a little parenting advice from a guy who doesn't have kids. With the first pick, I can't help myself. Randy Moss was gone. The big trade with the Raiders. Napoleon Harris, a 7th round pick, and the 7th overall pick. Troy Williamson.
Yeah.
I just don't see how. Sorry, Forno. I don't see how to get over. I mean, nice guy, meant well. Every year he had gone to like the Nike camp for his vision, to fix his vision. And at the end of the day, I'm scarred because I covered that last game in Denver. I was there.
Was that the one off the helmet?
Yeah, the face mask. It was probably, God rest his soul, the best ball I ever saw Tavares Jackson throw. Just a deep shot. The safety was, because Troy had used a speed, so no one was around him. It was a walk-in touchdown, and it hit him in the helmet. And in that same game, there was a beautiful crossing route. Tavares had a real good game.
And you dropped
it was a third down.
It just hit off his hands.
Oh, my God.
So Troy Williamson, sorry.
Yeah, man. I was on the car ride from the airport. I was filling Jeremiah in on some Vikings history there. Because you kind of came along, like you didn't grow up a Vikings fan. But, he was like, they tried to fill it one for one. You know, Randy Moss is gone. Let's draft his replacement. No.
Speed. They thought, we just need a guy who's fast. They never took into account his hands.
Yeah. I mean, John Ross.
Same.
Yeah.
Right? John Ross,
Yeah.
that's what the Bengals did, and that didn't work out so well.
And the other thing, too, is receivers who can't run routes.
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's on the big board here. Dex, you're on the clock now with the number 2 overall pick.
He's having a good career.
I feel like Judd, pun intended, dropped the ball there with that first pick.
Wow.
Sitting on that one.
Pun fully intended.
I know
there,
who you're
actually.
taking.
Yeah.
Give me Christian Ponder. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, give me Ponder. I mean, the reaches of all reaches. And again, in my classic Zolgad way, I can say it. I'm sure he is a great guy. He's a nice guy.
Oh, he's a great guy.
He's smart as a whip. Maybe too smart for his own good. But
smart.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me. So give me Christian Ponder.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he probably should have been the number 1 pick there, but you could argue that Christian Ponder was a more productive NFL player than Troy Williamson was.
Well, and Troy was the 7th overall. Christian was 12. not to split hairs here,
Yeah.
but look, I'm not going to second guess myself one bit right now. I feel good about my selection.
Your process.
I feel like, my process was solid. I mean, who else writes down 15 names on a notepad? So I'm sticking with my pick.
So real quick, interrupting the snake draft of the week for the actual NFL draft that's happening right now too. We are now within 10 picks of the Vikings being on the clock because 2 picks have come off the board. The Dolphins have taken Michigan defensive tackle Kenneth Grant, so Michigan representing meat and potatoes in the top 15. And then the Colts have selected Penn State tight end Tyler Warren with the 14th overall pick.
Are you okay out there? Sports fans worried.
Shrieking. It's going to be tough to run 12 personnel now that these tight ends are coming off the board. So, all right, so we're within 10 picks of the Vikings being on the clock. All right, I'm going to go with my first round pick here. An old teammate of Jeremiah Searles. Give me Laquantosaurus Rex.
Oh, yeah.
Laquan Treadwell.
Third on my board.
Megaquan.
Still in the NFL.
Right, I know.
Still 10 years. Yep. 10 years and he has like 100 yards receiving. It's unbelievable. I don't understand.
What team is he on now?
He's running stairs still?
I mean, I think he's with Atlanta.
Okay.
I think Atlanta.
Bro, go to the jugs machine.
Is he
He
still
runs
running
stairs for 2
stairs?
hours,
Couch,
man.
Scoop
What's
Couch.
going on?
Can you fact check that for me? Where's Laquan at? Is he with Atlanta?
I think he just signed with the Colts or the Panthers. He's on a roster.
He's on
right
a
now.
roster. I mean, he literally has had his 401k is fat.
He's surviving just because he was picked in the first round.
Oh yeah, he's got the asterisk next to him.
Smarter than me.
He was an interesting guy, man. I mean, I'm not gonna trash the guy, but when the first thing he tells us is I'm not playing special teams, I was like, oh, you're not gonna be here very long, are you? It's like I don't play special teams. I was like, who do you?
So what would you say you do here?
Yeah, so when you drop football, you drop football. I remember he caught like a 10-yard dig route against the Bears, and he came back to the huddle like super hyped. We're like, that's your job. Like, what are you so excited about, dude? Like, you caught the football.
Oh, that's great.
Yay!
Yeah. Thanks for doing what you should do.
Thanks for doing what you were supposed to do.
You know, I feel like Cordero Patterson's name has come up. I don't think I'm drafting him here, but he did celebrate once. Didn't he return? The Vikings were down like 35-0. Were you on that team?
Yes.
And he celebrated.
Yep.
Yes.
I remember. That was a fun team meeting Monday morning.
Oh man.
Did Zim not take it well? I'm shocked.
He didn't enjoy that.
I'm shocked by that.
His eye was kind of popping a little bit. Too soon?
Or Zim.
No, it's not too soon.
Okay, with the 4th overall pick in the snake draft of the week, I'm struggling with like insensitivity here a little bit with this snake draft.
Oh, I know where you're going because I put this guy on my list, but I'm not going to take him.
Do I need to ding you for sensitive right now?
Ding.
I will ding you.
Well,
for sensitive.
there's 2 sensitive ones I've got on my list.
Well, I'll go with this one. I think it's a little bit different case. I'll go Demetrius Underwood.
Oh, he's on my list. Great pick.
Gets a pop from the crowd.
Yeah. Great pick. Man disappeared.
That was they had 2 picks in the Culpepper first round, right? So they drafted Culpepper, and then they're going to draft their edge rusher of the future and Demetrius Underwood. What happened? He just like stopped showing up to practice or something?
He had problems at Michigan State, and the Vikings were warned not to draft him.
Yeah.
And they drafted him, and he went to 1 training camp practice, left town in a cab, disappeared completely, and that's the pick that Dennis Green was quoted as saying, well, we had 2 first-round picks. It was a bonus pick.
Yeah.
And the reporters went to Red McCombs and said, how do you feel about these? He's like, that's no bonus pick. That's a mess-up.
That's amazing. No, that's still a pick. Yeah.
I got to say, you got the biggest steal in this draft.
Oh,
Phil.
I did?
That should have been the 1 of 1, no questions asked.
Wow.
I understand the sensitivity of it, but he practiced for the Vikings 1 time and never came back. You can't get a bigger bust than that.
Sensitivity. I've got dead people on my list.
I know, dude.
I mean,
I know.
Demetrius has his demons, but I believe that he is still on the earth with. I got dead people on this that I'm afraid to name.
All right, Declan's back on the clock with the 5th overall pick here.
Yeah, I'll go Erasmus James. Give me Erasmus James from 2005, the one of the 2 first-round picks. So. Erasmus James tallied just 28 games with the Vikings, lasted 3 years with them. Some of the picks that were available, or names that were available, well, The Aaron Rodgers decision was there, which caused one of the biggest fights in Mackey and Judd history at 24.
Oh, yeah.
You also had guys like Roddy White and Heath Miller who went in the first round, really good players.
Roddy White.
Erasmus James. I will take Erasmus James as my second pick.
Yeah, they had a nice little run there of just trying to replace John Randall, basically, and failed for 10 years. All right, Judd, you're up with the 6th overall pick and the 7th overall pick in this wraparound here.
Okay. I'm actually going to go recent vintage, back to our first draft party.
Oh, you're going to do it? I almost did it.
When the Vikings traded back from 12, oh my God, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to take safety Lewis Seen.
Wow. Who
has scarred this entire room on safeties.
I love the cheering.
It's not even fair.
I thought I was reaching when I was going to take him at
Lewis
2.
Seen is my pick. And then I also, one is, as I've said about this before, I do this draft on my own terms. I'm not trying to play, I mean, all due respect to you out there, I'm not trying to play to you, but I'm going to go with an old school pick too, because I feel like I need to make this pick because it should not be ignored. I've always maintained one of the reasons why the Vikings took Moss when he fell in '98 was because of this pick in particular, in which the Vikings got freaked out by a report in the New York Times that, oh my God, this draft prospect had smoked dope, and it came out at the combine. I'm going to take 1995, the 14th pick, Derek Alexander. One pick after that, Warren Sapp was taken.
Okay.
Derek Alexander had an unproductive career. Warren Sapp, can you imagine Warren Sapp and John Randall in the middle of your defensive line? The hell that would have caused.
Yeah, no, this is a good one. It's not going to resonate as much with the younger fans because it's like a '90s.
Yeah.
It's a little, I mean, there's some. They actually drafted really well in the '80s. They didn't whiff a lot in the first round, but we could probably go even way back. But that's the way back. All right, Dex, this is your
Nice
final
job,
pick
Judd.
here. Yeah.
Steal drafting by
draft.
Judd.
Thank you.
Derek Alexander.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
No way he should have been on the board right now.
All right. This might be my coleslaw-like pick here because it's a little late.
Oh, boy.
Wow, you guys are.
Yeah,
There's still a lot of good ones.
There are some good ones. There are some good
My
ones.
notepad's full of them.
Yep. You know what? I don't care about doing this. Willie Beavers.
Yes.
Give me Willie Beavers.
Thank you.
I know he was a fourth round.
you.
Yes.
That took guts. You know
Willie
what?
Beavers.
I'm proud of you, sports son. If
Willie
nothing else,
Beavers.
that took guts. 4th round pick who never played.
He never played. He was waived. He didn't make the 53. You were
But he
teammate
came back.
with him,
Teammate
right?
of Jeremiah's.
But he came back with you, right?
Oh, I was here when we drafted him.
Okay.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy. I'll tell the story. I don't care.
That's
we
such a-
went.
Nice, thank you.
We had our rookie dinner, so he was a terrible rookie. Right? Wouldn't get the waters. Wouldn't fill up the snack drawer. Like just not a good rookie. So we went to Manny's, which we love here in Minneapolis. Fantastic spot. We tell the waiter specifically, we are not adding. Hey, don't add the gratuity for the group. We'll take care of you. Everything's good. We rack up a fairly large bill. Guys are taking wine bottles home to go, like T-bones in a bag. We leave. We think everything's kosher. Alex Boone calls a week later, like, hey, can I get the family in? So we did. He goes, yeah, I don't think we can get you in. We're like, whoa, what happened? He goes, you guys stiffed my waiter on a $13,000 bill. And we were like, excuse me? What happened? He's like, he tipped him $0. And so we had to drag old Willie back down to Manny's and make him re-tip. And that kind of tells the story of who Willie Beavers was.
Wow.
This is the type of thing that I needed as a beat guy. This is the type of thing that would have prolonged my Star Tribune existence much more because it would have been so fun to write about.
Yeah, I mean, we could write a book, Judd. We could write a good book.
But you know what's funny? The prevailing thing, Treadwell, Beavers, Erasmus James, who I turned out hated football. He
kind of a problem.
When I remember at the old Winter Park locker room, December, freezing outside. He's in the midst of a lousy, very average to bad first season. And the running thing at that time was, I believe it was Mike Rosenthal, the right tackle, took Erasmus's jeans, which I'm sure cost more than my house, and put him in the snow and froze him. And so they get done with practice, and I passed Erasmus because he'd gone and found his jeans, and he was nearly in tears. He was so upset. Like he was fighting mad.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you can't live in your world with that, you can't survive.
No, not at all. Yeah, he didn't. he wasn't cut from the same cloth, and that's all right. But it's a hard ecosystem to get into when that's the problem. Which is why, especially in the O-line room, it's not just about the player; it's about the personality fit coming into that room. That is just as important because guys like Alex Boone spit him in, just chewed him up and spit him out in a brutal way.
Yeah, well, so nice pick, dude. A 4th-round pick. Getting
that was going to be my late pick. If I was going to throw a compensated pick in there, compensatory pick at the end. It was going to be Willie. So thank you, Declan.
We can do a UDFA board after this.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I feel terrible doing this, but I have to pick Jeff Gladney.
Yeah, that's you.
Like, I have to pick Jeff Gladney, rest his soul. He was a 1st-round pick. He was supposed to be a starting long-term cornerback, and he played 1 year, and, you know, tragedy.
I didn't have the guts to do that. No.
Have some class,
is it?
Yeah.
Wait, you were the one saying, no, wait. Don't make me feel bad. Ding sensitive, I know, I get it. Okay,
sensitive ding.
Oh, man.
I need my bell.
So, all right, so here, I feel terrible.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, here are the
R.I.P.
teams. Declan winds up with Christian Ponder, Erasmus James, and Willie Beavers. Okay. Judd winds up with Troy Williamson, Lewis Seen, and Derek Alexander. And I wind up with Laquan Treadwell, Demetrius Underwood, and Jeff Gladney. So the voting will be on the Score North Twitter page sometime in the next, I don't know, AJ's super busy.
AJ's working overtime.
Sometime in the next 24 hours, I don't know, whatever AJ can get to it. But there's your snake draft of the week here on Purple Daily. We're getting closer here. So the Falcons at 15 just took Georgia defensive end Jalen Walker. And so now we are on the 16th pick with the Cardinals on the clock. So we're going to throw it to the scoop sofa here to kind of reset where things are at in just a moment as we get closer and closer, getting very close.
Timeout for Sports Dad then.
Oh, it is a timeout for Sports Dad.
Sports Dad's 55.
There he is, man. Sports Dad here for prostate medication.
Shaquille Zolgad.
Yes. Go get that bathroom break, Sports Dad. Yeah, the 2025 Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Shout out to Roku, Two Men in a Junk Truck, our friends at Podrick's Brewing, Neos Elite Performance, and Grandpa's Barbecue, Dex. Let's talk about Grandpa's Barbecue.
Yep.
These dry rubs over here.
Oh, you had some dry rubs. Yeah, I mean, I had the sauce that, I was slurping on earlier. And then, you got the sweet barbecue rub here, too, this little blend. Great little stuff here from our friends at Grandpa's Barbecue. Since 1976, they're a small batch, slow-simmered and packaged with tradition. Each bottle carries the taste of generations, bringing people together for unforgettable moments around the table. Every bottle, too, that you purchase helps support an XP family support group, a cause it's personal to the company, and their son lives with xeroderma pigmentosum, which is a rare condition that makes sunlight very dangerous. So when you enjoy Grandpa's Barbecue, you're also benefiting something special. Go to Grandpa's Barbecue, get some of your hot sauces, and then, deliver your hot takes with some hot sauce in hand. Do it. Do it up.
A reminder. Oh, you shut your mouth. There is one Packer fan in here.
There's always one.
I'll fight.
But he also, if it's the one that I was talking with earlier, he's a huge Timberwolves fan.
Yeah.
No, it's a different guy. It's a different guy. All right.
Okay.
Hey, a reminder that we're putting a QR code up on the screen a couple times an hour here for you to scan and enter to win a 75-inch Roku Pro Series TV and a wall mount to go with that TV. So shout out to Roku. Jay's just frantically trying to find that QR code. Also, Park Dental is providing a Sonicare toothbrush, travel case, charger, tooth whitening kit, and Continental Diamond is providing a G-Shock 2100 series watch. So thank you to them for supplying some great giveaways via that QR code, or also scorenorth.com/win. You can win on Underdog too, Dex.
You can win on Underdog. Hell yeah, you can win on Underdog.
LFG.
You can go to Underdog, use, if you're signing up for the first time, go on the App Store, the Google Play Store. You can use promo code SCORE, S-K-O-R, and they will give you up to a $1,000 deposit match. You can get on the extender as well, which gives you boost for each playoff game when the Wolves win in 5. So that's going to be a big thing too. So sign up at Underdog, promo code SCORE, S-K-O-R, when you sign up.
All right, over to the scoop sofa here. So we now have 15 picks off the board. We're sitting here. The Arizona Cardinals are on the clock with the 16th overall pick. There he is.
Did you wash your hands?
Did you wash your hands?
Oh, we're doing the flag for the bathroom break.
You know what? I'm going to go next.
Oh, wow. This is a run on bathroom breaks here. We got a run on defensive tackles and bathroom breaks here.
Yeah. This is what happens, though. The D tackles are going to go now. This is going to be a big run. It's going to be a race to 24. If the Vikings want a top-tier D tackle, they're sweating a little bit right now.
Yeah, scoop sofa here. Let's start with Forno and then over to Doogie. We're starting to get a feel for what may or may not be available now to the Vikings, who are within, 9 picks right now. So survey the landscape for us, Forno.
So some of this has been chalk, some of this has been bonkers. Position-wise, there hasn't been anything super shocking other than Miami going DT. We kind of figured offensive line, we'd see 3 in the first 10 picks. We kind of figured that we would see, Mason Graham go. We knew San Francisco was going to go defensive line. The Cowboys going offensive line to forcibly replace Zach Martin. A little bit of a surprise, but it's also a very Jerry Jones pick. Trying to project forward, you have Shamar Stewart, my number 3 player in this class, still available. The fact that his kind of athletic profile is still available here, to me, feels insane. You still have Derek Harmon and Walter Nolan, who the Bengals are probably taking one of the 3 of those guys, Nolan, Harmon, or Shamar Stewart. And if Mike Green's still there, he's an option as well. So you also have the Chargers, who could potentially take one of those guys, even though they may lean receiver at this point. You're hoping that people are scared of Walter Nolan's red flags. They're worried about Derek Harmon's shoulder. I'm still convinced Gray Zabel goes 18 to the Seahawks. Okay. So if he doesn't go there, there's a chance he slides. We're in for a real, depending on what you want, you're grinding your teeth, you're hoping your guy falls, because there's a lot of opportunities for all of those guys to be gone by 24.
Doogie, some of the names that are still on the board. I mean, Gray Zabel was mentioned. What are you hearing about the Vikings and or vice versa connection with some of the players that are still on the board that haven't been picked yet?
Gray Zabel. I mean, they're rooting for Seattle to pass on Gray Zabel at 18. Does that allow Zabel to fall all the way to 24? I don't think it's a shock to those in Eagan right now, but they are fans of Tyler Booker. I don't think they really thought he'd fall all the way to 24, but probably a little bit of a surprise that he went as high as 12. Emanwari, Starks. If Zabel is off the board, keep an eye on one of those defensive backs.
Well, and Walter Nolan to the Cardinals.
Yep.
Okay, so Walter Nolan, that's a big one right there, because that's one that the Vikings were hoping.
Jonathan Gannon, Mike Zimmer disciple. How does that defense really run? You get that gap shooting 3 technique to create havoc in that front.
Not a surprise, though.
No.
Jeremiah, I mean, did you think there was any possibility of Nolan falling all the way to 24?
No.
I don't think the Vikings, in all their mocks, I don't think they had one that had Nolan getting all the way to 24.
I'm honestly surprised he's still there at 16. I thought he had the potential to be a top 10 pick, right? With just the production, the size, the athletic profile, but there was no way he was going to make it all the way down to 24, because as we know, the draft goes and runs, right? We saw it. Okay, 3-0 tackles go. Oh, Colson Loveland. Okay, Colts, I better get my tight end and Tyler Warren, right? The run is now on D tackles and edge rushers. I think we're going to see that continued path. I'm going to push back a little bit on you, Forno, with Gray there at 18. Historically, right, and things can change, guards don't go that high unless you are the top guard, right? And Tyler Booker was by far and away, in my opinion, the top guard in this draft. You look at guys like Graham Barton, who played tackle that moved inside to center last year for Tampa Bay. Gray might fit that, but he's a little bit more of a project than a guy like Graham Barton coming out of Duke last year, with a little bit more polish, in my opinion, than Gray going at 18.
So I agree 100% with you. I'm just going by everything I'm hearing behind the scenes, which is John Schneider finally gets kind of control, and he loves Gray Zabel.
Yeah, and I know Steve Hutchinson, who also works for the Seattle Seahawks, who I talk with quite often, big fan of Gray Zabel as well. So it wouldn't shock me, but I do think that would be a bit of a reach with the players that are still on the board.
Hey, for both you guys, Gray Zabel, how many positions could he play in the NFL?
I think he theoretically is going to play 3. He could play tackle in a pinch, but I wouldn't want him to play there long term.
So interior, the 3 interior
I think
spots?
he could play all 3 interior spots, but I agree with Jeremiah. I think he's a project. I don't think he's a guy that you're going to want to throw in there day one. He might be able to win a camp competition against Brandel, but if you're drafting and you want an impact guy now, I really don't think that's Gray Zabel. In years 2, 3, and 4, sure. But how Kwesi Ovamensa talked in his pre-draft presser, it doesn't scream Gray Zabel's that guy.
Yeah, and when you take a guy at 18, you're expecting him to start. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know, and the pressure is immense for you to come in and to start right away. You take Gray at the top of 2, or you take a guy at the 2 and 3, there's not this immense pressure to come in right away and be the guy, right? I think Gray's best position is center as well, so I do think a team there, and I have a center on Seattle, so I'm also hoping that they pass on that selfishly. But I do think that Gray is probably the next available best interior offensive lineman to come off the board. I don't think he goes tonight. My guess is he will go top of 2.
Oh, really?
I do.
Interesting. So as this unfolds now, and we're through X amount of picks, what are we thinking the Vikings do? More trade than ever?
I think with this amount of D tackles still on the board, you got to take one.
Okay.
Right. If you get to 24 and there's still those D tackles still on the board, I think you got to grab one of those guys because their next pick isn't until late 2, correct?
Late 3.
Late 3.
Yeah, late 3,
if you try and wait till late 3 to grab a D tackle, they're going to be picked over.
Yeah.
Like the immediate contributor guys are not going to be there. I think if there's still a good D tackle you're in love with, you bring someone in because you don't want Jonathan Allen, you don't want Hargrave being an 800 snap a year guy. You want those guys to be 500 snaps, 450 snaps, have a rookie that can come in, learn behind those veteran guys, learn the tricks of the trade, and rotate in. You find that guy at 24.
And asking both of them to stay healthy is a big reach, in my opinion.
Huge ask.
30 years old and 32, and they're both coming off years where they missed significant time.
Hey, let me throw this out. Pat Shurmur, Kevin Stefanski have a rock-solid relationship. Shurmur in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Does Shedeur Sanders fall beyond 21? Is that then the logical trade-up, that the Browns and Vikings, with that relationship, Kwesi and Andrew Berry, that they come together, the Browns move into the 24 slot to get Sanders, and the Vikings end up one way or another with 33 and 36?
Yes, because then you can draft Gray at 33 or 36 and feel good about it. You know, I think you can draft Gray Zabel there, and I think he'll still be there if he makes it past 18, to Forno's point, right? But I do think that that's something there where you can accumulate some more picks in the top part of 2 that you don't have.
I want to come back to the quarterback thing because there's a storyline building here. Something that's been projected for the last couple weeks is happening, and I think it could benefit the Vikings. But our guy Crisco from KS95 is around here somewhere. Crisco, where are you?
I'm just the guy looking like Grimace out in the crowd right now here in my overlarge jersey. But I am here with Matt from Moorhead, and you have a question for the guys.
I do. So at pick 24, out of these 3 prospects, who do you prefer the Vikings to pick? Safety Malachi Starks, Gray Zabel, or wide receiver Luther Burden?
Jay, Forno?
Of those guys, I would probably go Luther Burden. He provides a skill set for this offense that they don't have. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are not yard after catch guys. They can get yard after catch guys, but you're not trying to design a lot of plays for them to get the ball in their hands and then go. That is exactly what Luther Burden is. Plus, he can attack vertically. He runs in the 4-4s. He's elusive in the open field. You're going to hear some like Percy Harvin kind of comparisons. They're not a one-to-one, but he can do a lot of those special things where you design screens and get him just the ball in his hands and let him go, where he can take stuff to the house. So if you want to really round out that skill set, I would like Burden. But Malachi Starks, the GPS stuff is bonkers on him. Don't listen to the athletic testing. He can absolutely be a great athlete on the field.
I would go Starks out of that group that we picked there, mostly because we all love Harrison Smith in this room. I love Harrison Smith, right? Fantastic. He's on his way out. Find his successor. Find his successor. Have a plan for the transition of Harrison Smith moving out. Bring in Starks. Let him learn from behind Harry. I'm a big believer in bringing in guys and letting them learn from the guys above them instead of bringing in guys and throwing them into the fire. Right? I think that's so much better for development for young players. Come in, let them go. I would take Starks out of those 3.
Okay. Coming back to the wide receiver thing
Even though
again,
I hate
too,
DBs.
but it's fine.
Those are great. We've had some great questions. So, yeah, keep finding Crisco and asking some of these great questions here. On the quarterback front here, Shedeur Sanders is still sitting out there. By the way, I should mention that Texas A&M drafted, or the Bengals drafted Texas A&M defensive end, edge rusher, Shamar Stewart, with the 17th overall pick.
I love him.
Hey, the Bengals gave up a bunch of points last year, so this should help.
He's got a Trevon Walker athletic profile, but he's a better penetrator than Walker was. At Georgia, they don't really teach you how to rush the passer. They teach you how to stop the run, and you just kind of figure it out. So when they get to the NFL, they're a little more on the raw side. Stewart is kind of like Derek Harmon. They're both great penetrators. Neither one of them can finish. If you can teach them to finish in the backfield and not just cause havoc, like Shamar Stewart could be a perennial All-Pro. He could also never figure it out and just be like a 5-sack-a-year guy, but he'll always be good in that pressure category.
Yeah.
And that is honestly more important than sacks. The elite guys finish. The good guys just get there.
Also, the selection of Shamar Stewart to the Bengals means we are 6 picks away from the Vikings being on the clock. 6 picks away.
And the Seahawks are on the clock right now, so the Zabel question should be answered here shortly.
So the Zabel question could start to get answered, but also there's going to be teams. So Shedeur Sanders, 21 Steelers is a big-time quarterback spot, obviously.
Yep.
There's a really good chance they wind up taking Shedeur Sanders. Maybe things get weird and they take Jackson Dart as the second quarterback off the board. But either way, it looks like either Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart is going to be there around where the Vikings pick. Could this be a linchpin for a team to jump back into the first round for whichever of those quarterbacks is QB3 on the board? Like, that's a storyline that's building here in the next 6 or 7
So what
picks.
teams is that?
Cleveland. The Giants.
Yeah, to come back. There's been speculation that the Giants were going to try to come back. But I got a question about Dart. There is always a quarterback media flavor of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who who starts off with he's a guy, he's a jag, and then the next thing you know, he is going to be a top 10 pick, or he's going to be in the first round. What's the honest opinion in the professional world of Dart? Because every year I feel like we see this ascension, and it's nothing but fool's gold.
Yeah, I mean, I was not impressed with Jackson Dart down at the Senior Bowl this year at all. You know, I thought that you stand next to him and you go, yeah, you look like an NFL quarterback. You're put together. The velocity of the ball coming out of his hand, I didn't love. The way that he kind of carried himself, I know, which is a weird thing to think about, but just the way he carried himself. And I think the media falls in love with him because what do you compare him to? I've heard comparisons to Josh Allen, right? And so you start thinking like, oh, he could be like Josh Allen. It's a huge reach, in my opinion, and that's how the steam builds. I do think Dart is going to be a quarterback in this league. I don't know if he becomes one of the top 20 quarterbacks in this league. He probably finds his way. He'll start a few years. I don't think he's ever going to be a team's guy, but he does have a lot of the physical tools that you're looking for in a quarterback to last the beating that is an 17-game, 18-week schedule.
18 soon enough.
Yeah, it'll be 18 soon enough.
18 soon with another bye week, so that is it President's Day?
Yeah.
Let's push the season out so we can all have Monday off after the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
So, all right, let's go back to Crisco from KS95 in the audience here at the Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Okay, we have Isaac from Minneapolis with a hot take that I think is going to ruffle your feathers. We want to hear it.
Hey, so massive fan of the show, but my hot take is J.J. McCarthy, more passing yards, more touchdowns, less interceptions than Jaden Daniels this season.
Whoa.
Told you.
Whoa.
That's bringing the heat right there.
Love it. Isaac throwing fastballs here. Okay, let's do a J.J. McCarthy side street here. I'm going to throw it over to the scoop sofa here. Doogie, start us off. What are you hearing about J.J. McCarthy, this process coming back, recovering from the injury? They just had last week, not like team workouts, but you can get in the weight room and you can corral the wide receivers, and Kevin O'Connell and company get to actually kind of observe these guys in their natural habitat. So what are you hearing about J.J. McCarthy and his journey back?
His weight is up to game playing weight, 210-ish. He's been in Egan pretty regularly going back multiple months, so you're in contact with people over at TCO. They say he looks fantastic. He spent some time with his personal quarterback trainer, Greg Holcomb, right after the season. You're in touch with Greg. Greg will gush about how great JJ looks. There's a lot to be excited about when it comes to JJ. I was over at TCO on Monday. Kevin O'Connell had some FaceTime with the head coach. We know this now. It's been out there. JJ McCarthy is fully cleared. He is ready to go. Now, there's no reason for them to go all in on phase 1 or even phase 2 or even the mandatory minicamp in June. But come that first day of the pads being on the full pads in late July, early August, JJ McCarthy is ready to go.
So, if you're the Vikings right now, and I'll announce this, I'm being told that the Seahawks just took Gray Zabel. So, it as Jeremiah shows, big time reach. But now, if you're the Vikings, this is what you're thinking about. Those 2 offensive linemen that we talked about this morning, Doogie, are now off the board. Donovan Jackson's a possibility. I don't think any of the offensive tackles are. So now you still have one of the defensive tackles in Derek Harmon. You have both safeties. You have every corner not named Travis Hunter. It's a very interesting spot. How do you play it? How are the Vikings going to see this right now? That's the biggest question, because you don't have the offensive line option anymore, in my opinion.
Forno, who are right now players still on the board? And so the 19th pick is coming up. We are just a handful of picks from the Vikings being on the clock. Right now, best case scenario, if they stick and pick at 24, who are your 3 guys right now?
Absolutely. Pat, if you would please, he's got my big board. You can throw it up on the screen. I've got my top 100.
I love Forno calling production. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go, Forno.
Let's see it.
So my number 1 guy still available is Savon Revel Jr., the cornerback from East Carolina. I love his game. He was built in a lab to play for a guy like Pete Carroll, but I think he could thrive for Brian Flores. He got the size, he has athleticism, he has length, and he has recovery speed. Even though he played at East Carolina, one of his better games was against Michigan in 2023 when they had McCarthy, all the weapons, the offensive line. They won a natty. I love Jahad Campbell. He's number 7 on my board. He's still available. Emeka Egbuka and Luther Burton are 11 or 12. Malachi Starks is 13. There are some really good football players still available at this spot. So if you stick and pick, I think you can get really good value. If, like we have with horizontal boards like they have in TCO, like I have built in my work for A to Z Sports, if you have like 7 guys, just trade back and you'll get one of them. So they have a multitude of options, and I don't think that they have a really bad choice right now, unless they take a quarterback and just like one of our fans had with his hot take, just let him compete with JJ McCarthy.
Some juicy stuff here. Yeah, we'll let's keep the Forno big board handy. I love the graphic there.
I think we're looking, Phil, at one of the safeties at this point. If they're staying at 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now if they can work out a trade with the Browns or someone else, okay, Jackson from Ohio State's in play, maybe some other names, perhaps a defensive tackle. But right now I think we're looking at Imanori or Starks.
But Forno's big board to me screams trade down. Like there's enough quality left. Again, you're not, unless you feel there's one position you have to fill and that guy can do it. It also looks like that there's enough quality left, high quality potentially, that it makes more sense probably to try. And I'm not saying a significant trade down, but I am saying a trade down with a team that gets you, let's say, another third round pick. I mean, you are in a position right now where you would really like, I think, in either round, just at least one more pick for tomorrow.
Yeah, it would be nice. I think in a perfect world, Kwesi and company would be on the phones right now. Let's say it's expected that Shedeur Sanders is going 21 to the Steelers. And he was on a podcast this week, essentially. They asked him, who are the best quarterback-wide receiver combos in NFL history? And he's listing off all these all-time greats, and he goes, and then whoever's throwing the ball to DK Metcalf and George Pickens, and he kind of had a little sly look on his face. So it's like he probably knew going in. But if that's the case, I'd be on the phone. I would try to get a bidding war for anyone who likes Jackson Dart, or if Jalen Milroe's the guy.
Yeah.
And I would try to pit 2 or 3. I mean, what do I know? I'm just an idiot. I've never been in an NFL front office. But like, if you could swing a trade and leverage that 24th pick between teams that want to move into the first round and draft a quarterback, that would seem to be the best case. Yeah. But I watch draft day.
I mean, if you watch draft day,
Vontae
you know how
Mack,
it works.
no matter what. Yeah.
I want my picks back.
Yep. Jay, hey, back to the JJ McCarthy conversation.
Yes.
So you're the only one up here who's actually, I don't know, like been in an NFL locker room for a half decade. So what was he able to, just in your experience, he couldn't take practice reps, but he was in all the meetings. He had the one-on-one with Kevin O'Connell. What did he actually miss? And what do you think he actually soaked in, just theoretically?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, when
Great question, Point.
Right.
When you miss what you miss when you don't play is he got a little bit of the taste of that speed differential in the preseason and in the training camp piece, which is important. What you really miss though is how to prepare the week in and week out, keeping your body healthy through that long of a season and taking the hits from the real big boys on the D-lines of the NFL. And you miss the game plan, the in-game changes, right? Hey, we went in with plan A, we now have to switch to plan C because of what they did in front of you, and being able to adapt that in real time from taking it from the sideline and the iPad and then applying it out onto the field. What he was able to do is get his feet wet and understanding what the process is week in and week out of preparing for a game plan, how to watch the film. Okay, on Wednesdays we come in, we install first and second down run game. On Thursdays we come in and we start installing third down. On Fridays it's short yardage and goal line. We walk through, right? He got to get all of that. He took the mental reps, and hearing guys like Harrison Phillips say, hey, he was asking me questions and he was coming and talking to me, shows me that he's made up of things the right way. I just hope that he can get himself back up to that game playing speed, that processing speed of real football, because training camp and preseason is not real football. Week 1 is real football, and he has not experienced any of that yet.
It is fun. I think there's room for two things. One, to be optimistic about everything that you've heard about him, but also on the other hand, to think it's kind of ridiculous that we all keep pointing back to like those 2 throws he made against the Raiders in that preseason game. They were great throws, 3 throws. Okay, so we have the 19th pick is in. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have selected Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. So we are now on the 20th overall pick here, 1 pick closer to the Vikings at 24. The Broncos are on the clock with the 20th overall pick. Dex?
Yeah, by the way, we have a giveaway from our friends at Standard Heating. So if you're registered for a couple raffle tickets, Standard Heating is over there in the back. If you need any HVAC needs, go hit them up. But 2 people have won Honey Purple T6 thermostats. That's right, a purple thermostat in your house.
Wow. Nice.
Let's go.
So pull out your raffle tickets. The first winner is 724-061. 724-061. The other winner is 724-144. 724-144. If you had that winning ticket, go see our friends at Standard Heating and Air for your purple thermostat.
Awesome.
Bingo.
Yeah, and again, a shout out, just we wouldn't be able to sit up here and do this and watch Jeremiah chug a beer and Judd wave a flag if it weren't for our awesome partners, again, at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, Roku, Neos Elite Performance, Brixworth in the North Loop, Podrigs Brewing, Element Hotel, Park Dental back there as well. So just a major shout out to all of them. All right, our guy Crisco from KS95, this is going to trigger some people, I think, based on what he just texted me. So, Crisco, where are you?
Where the hell is he?
There he is. Oh, we got to pot his mic there.
Hello, there it is.
There we go.
You usually can hear me through this whole place, so that's my problem this time. I'm with Bob from Mankato, and Bob has definitely had a few beers tonight, so we're good about that.
Let's go, Bob. Let's go,
That's
Bob.
right. Bob is the character we've all been looking for.
Purple
now,
cows.
He's not a fan of the person he's going to mention to you, but he has a question about, I'm going to say it, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Do we really want him? Do we want to bring him in?
No.
I do not want him in Minnesota. I better have to stay in with JJ all the way. Let's see what he can do.
Let's hear it for Bob.
More Bob.
Have a day, Bob.
Bob, you're drunk but right. So
He is.
that really helps.
Bob is a treasure.
Bob's still talking. I just want you to know that. He's been talking for the last 30 seconds. Yeah, Bob. Woo!
Way to go, Bob.
Just going for it all.
Way to go.
Okay, so it's a no from the room on Aaron Rodgers. No?
if they don't want Kirk Cousins, they sure as hell don't want Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah. I mean, we obviously we exhausted this about a month ago. I feel like for 2 weeks on the show.
We did.
But well, if the Steelers in about 10 minutes draft Shadur Sanders, it means they've completely moved on from Aaron Rodgers, which really leaves no obvious options. Unless the Browns don't take a quarterback and he wants to play in Cleveland or something.
No shot.
The Giants.
No
The
shot.
Giants. Well, they got Russell Wilson and
and Jameis.
And Jameis Winston, yeah.
There's a better chance that Aaron Rodgers has moved on from the Steelers than vice versa.
I mean, there's a better chance Aaron Rodgers has moved on from NFL.
Yeah, well, right. But,
Right?
but he's also sitting there looking back at the Favre plan saying, that team looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
That plays downtown.
Ooh.
I got a question for you back to the McCarthy thing, though. How much does the infrastructure that the team has with...
Oh, is that like a phone? Is it Doogie, are you texting?
Dukes, are you texting?
Forno's tapping the mic.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay, I was going to say, like
He's
is there
giving
a
us
printer
more-
in here?
he's giving us Morse code.
ADD. I'm used to having a fidget in my hand.
Trade back. Trade back.
Get me out of here.
BACK.
Real quick. The Giants, according to Jordan Schultz from Fox Sports, have been trying to trade back into round one.
There it is.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, doggy.
Yeah,
Keep an eye on that one.
And that's supposedly, the last I saw, as much Jackson Dart. But the question I have is this: the infrastructure in the building.
Yep.
O'Connell, McGowan, you've got a lot of quarterbacks. How much does that help the quarterback room itself, and the McCarthy development plan to have that many guys who if they weren't successful, McCown was, but if they weren't successful, have that knowledge of the position to sort of guide him along. And let's say he struggles in the first 5 games, how much can they mitigate those struggles by knowing what not to do to him at that point?
Yeah, no, it's a really good thing. I'm a big believer in the more former players you can have around you that have been through where you want to go, the better, right? And Kevin O'Connell and those guys have had their struggles and had their pieces, and it's not as much about how do we mitigate it before it happens. It's, hey, how do we keep him from letting the outside noise in, letting it affect his next performance, letting it compound so that one game now doesn't equal 3 bad game skids, but also just learning how he takes criticism and how he takes coaching, because every player is going to be different, right? McCowan took coaching different than KOC did. And I know how we feel about Sam Darnold, but I honestly believe Sam Darnold taught J.J. McCarthy a bunch, right, about perseverance. Right, about being able to look and talk about Sam's story of how it didn't work out for me at the Jets. It didn't work out for me in Carolina. It finally worked out for me. Just stay with it. Keep fighting. Keep moving forward. He's had so many good voices, and I believe he's like 22, right? 21, 22 years old. Yeah. He's still incredibly young, and so he's still incredibly resilient in that thesis where he's still being molded into what the kind of man he's going to be. He's still a kid, right? And he's got the keys to a billion-dollar organization in his hands, but he's got the right people surrounding him, and from what everything, I've been coming out from Harbaugh and what that sounds like, he's always been the right kind of kid. So I just really hope that he continues to listen to those voices and allows them to influence him in the proper way.
Sure. Jay, what are the hardest things about being a rookie in the NFL, just broadly?
The knowledge gap is really tough, right? And I know that Harbaugh ran probably more of a pro-style system in Michigan, but when you're showing up and you're no longer preparing for Purdue in week 10, but you're going against some crazy scheme from Green Bay or some wild scheme that you're going to have to see again from blitzes all over the place, like Wink Martindale type system, and you have to flush everything you learned last week and relearn a whole entire system this week, that's really hard to do while you're also still trying to learn the playbook, while you're still trying to figure out what the schedule is and how do I get my body back before Sunday and what food am I eating, where am I going? Like it can blur into one, and the rookie wall is very real. I mean, I don't care if you hit it in week 8 or week 15, you're going to hit it at one point in time because these rookies have been going nonstop basically through their start of their senior year, through the end of their rookie year. They eventually just mentally and physically wear out. And that's where, to your point, having the people around you that have been there and been through that and helping, hey, how do I navigate this to mitigate this rookie wall that you hit, that's going to be really important. It's just such a mental grind, man. Rookie year is so hard.
Yeah, I mean, your point, too, about, I think, like, in our conversations, too, on the O-line committee, which, shameless plug, O-line committee, if you enjoy Jeremiah's analysis and boyish charm tonight. The O-line Committee YouTube channel. You can find it on Apple and Spotify as well. Wow. Some OLC
fans.
love in
I
here.
love it.
Some OLC love in here. It's like, it really is like going from a basic level like math or language class and jumping up multiple steps when you go in. And like you've used the metaphor, it is like a fire hose being blasted at you on a, and every fire hose is different week to week to week because of the game plans being thrown at you.
Yeah,
right?
and during training camp, all you're doing is installing your own plays. And I couldn't even imagine the training camp going against a Brian Flores defense. You're like, this isn't every week, right? Like this is this what I'm going to deal with every week? It's like, no, really, sometimes teams only play 4 D linemen and 3 linebackers. It's actually a perfect picture. But yeah, just trying to learn a new knowledge, because in Michigan they might have called it apples is their protection, but here it's called oranges. It's the same thing, but you have to learn the vernacular and you have to learn the routes and learn new people. And the biggest thing with him last year is he's taking reps with the 1s and the 2s and the timing, the back and forth. Him being with the first team offense all through OTAs, all through training camp, that's really where we're going to see if he takes that step and that growth in the next level, building chemistry guys with Addison, Hawkinson, Jefferson, all those guys really feeling like they're the dudes.
Okay. The Denver Broncos pick is in at number 20, so they stick and pick. There was some talk about that would be a slot where someone could jump the Steelers to go grab a Shadur Sanders. The Broncos stick and pick Texas cornerback Jahdae Barron. That's a guy that we have seen frequently tied to the Minnesota Vikings, so take him off the board, Tyler Forness.
Yeah, he was selected among 656 industry mock drafts I collected 61 times, number 3 among all prospects. If you classify him as a safety, which I think that he's best at, the top 3 prospects to the Vikings over the course of the last 4 months were all safeties, so that's something to keep in mind. But he's kind of a joker. I would want him to play a Minka Fitzpatrick-like role where he roves, he can play in the nickel, he can do some safety stuff. You can play him at outside corner, but I think his best ability is the ability of versatility to use him all over the defense. And I would trust Vance Joseph to maximize a player like that.
What are we putting the odds on right now with the Steelers on the clock that they do take the quarterback?
None.
Oh.
Wait, you don't think they take a quarterback?
I'm hearing it's Derek Harmon.
Oh.
It's not good for us.
Which means all 3 defensive tackles that you hoped would make it are now all gone.
So now you're going. So now what you're doing is hoping to if Shadur falls to you, you now just allow yourself to go back.
Yes, or you can take your pick of pretty much every other defensive back.
Gotcha.
And there is I could make a great argument that that's your smartest play. I wanted a defensive tackle. They're all gone.
Yep.
You can get a rotational guy later on, and then they can develop into a starter. But the Vikings are in a good spot for flexibility.
The Vikings are hoping that Harmon goes here.
Well, credit to Forno. The Steelers have selected Derek Harmon, defensive tackle.
Forno.
Broken right here by Tyler Forness.
I think there's happiness in Egan right now. I really do.
By the way, Forno, you can find him on A to Z Sports and the Vikings First and Skol YouTube channel if you enjoy his work.
You know what? Forget
This is
Kuiper.
wild.
Forget Kuiper. We got
Forno. We got the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line. We got Bob.
ESPN.
Forno.
Hey, by the way, so right now on DraftKings, they have odds for positions at certain slots. At pick 24 right now, the number 1 position to pick 24 is safety, but the next position after that is quarterback at plus 200, which would insinuate obviously a trade up to 24 to where the Vikings would be going.
Interesting.
I feel like there's a lot of guys at the draft right now that haven't gotten picked.
Well, like in their suits,
like
and
in
just
their
sitting
suits,
there nervously.
I mean, I know we don't have the draft feed up, but I'm thinking about Forno. Correct me if I'm wrong. The DB from Kentucky hasn't gone yet with the fly
God.
joke that he
the
had. The
coolest blazer I've ever seen in a draft room.
I mean, Milroe's still there. I feel like there's still quite a few people that are at the draft that you're projected. If you get invited to the draft, you're supposed to be a projected top 15 pick.
Yeah.
Right.
Maxwell Hairston, I think, is the guy you're talking about.
Yes.
Right?
And so to Forno's point, there's still a lot of unbelievably talented players standing here that if you no longer have your position of need right where you're at, take your pick of the litter.
Yeah.
Right? Take your pick of the litter of whether it's receiver, DB, right? Say, okay, edge rusher, like Mike Green's still sitting on the board. Like, who do we just want to get out here and think can make our team better right now, regardless of position of need?
So the green room is full of tears is what you're telling me.
Yes, the green room, it's a lot of girlfriends going, what happened?
I thought we were
Shut
gonna
up.
I thought we were going to get rich tonight.
For to kind of your point, all these different players, I still have the number 6, number 7, number 12, number 13, number 15, and number 21 players available on my board, and we're already past pick 21.
Yep.
So if they stick and pick, give us an update on like give us the top 3 guys on your board relative to Vikings. Or I mean, are there guys? Let me ask you this: is there anyone on your board that's kind of a position that is a little out there, like receiver, or that it's the best player available by a wide margin? Just pick them.
I would, if the medicals are good, I'd move heaven and earth for Alabama linebacker Todd Campbell.
Okay.
I love his game. He can run the pole in Tampa too, like Derek Brooks used to do for the Bucs. He can play physical in the run. He's 6'3", 240, and he came into college as an edge rusher. There is a little bit of juice there, and that means Brian Flores can maximize him as a blitzer.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, let me throw a name at you. At 24, Josh Simmons, Ohio State, move him inside and play him at left guard.
I didn't hear you. Can you?
Yeah, Josh Simmons, left tackle, Ohio State, take him at 24 and move him inside to left guard for the Vikings.
I'm going to trust your evaluation on that because I don't know if I would love him inside.
Okay.
But if you believe he can kick inside, I'll trust you on that.
I think he could. He's a guy that he had a patella this year. He transferred from San Diego State, Ohio State, had an unbelievable year last year, had the patella, was projected to be a top 10 pick. I think he has more flexibility than a guy like Ariante Irsay to move inside, and then maybe you could kick him outside if you needed to. Or, you maybe take him here because you feel like you can get him at a value at 24. He's the only other offensive lineman, in my opinion, that might go tonight. Like, I don't know of another clear-cut offensive lineman that I'm sitting there going, I don't think Donovan Jackson sneaks into the first. I don't know another clear-cut tackle that I'm sitting there just glaring at me. Simmons, for me, if they're going to go offensive line at 24, is the last available one if that's the position that they're looking at.
Well, then you move back.
I agree. I think that's the best move right now as
I mean,
well.
Shador being on the board right now is beautiful for the Vikings.
Yeah,
Allow one of these teams to come up. It's not ideal for us. The Vikings aren't making a pick tonight, but you move back and you pick early tomorrow.
The interesting thing is I could see the Chiefs moving up with the Vikings and taking Simmons.
Yeah.
So that's something that you have to be wary of because a lot of these teams in the back end of the first round could use offensive linemen. The Lions would like to fortify that room. The Chiefs feel desperate every year for offensive line. The Commanders, they did get Tunsil, but they still have a couple questions on the interior. The Ravens still have questions on the interior. I loved the Tyler Booker fit for them if he made it. So this is an offensive line kind of grouping. And we haven't even talked about the Houston Texans, who added both Ed Ingram and Cam Robinson. And, well, we've kind of seen how that has worked out with Minnesota.
Yeah,
so
Ed's a lot.
If you do move back and you want to target a guy like Simmons, I don't think you can. I think you have to stay if he's your guy.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, looking through this, and he's the last true first-round tackle prospect right now.
The Shador falling past 21 thing is, I mean, obviously Doogie mentioned it's great for the Vikings if they're looking to trade back and get a couple extra picks, like it could be great. But it's kind of crazy how far his stock has fallen since the last game was played, and you're shaking your head.
It's not for me. So much of the quarterback position, and how much have we sat up here and talked about the character of J.J. McCarthy, right? How much has that been a driving force in the conversation? I listened to your guys' show of what we talk about who J.J. is and why we believe in J.J. McCarthy, even though he hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet. Why don't we believe in Shedeur Sanders? All the same things. I've never been a guy. I think Shedeur has talent. I think he has talent to play in the NFL. But when you're a quarterback in the NFL, it is so much more about than just can you throw the ball to the receiver. Can you lead 52 other men on a day-to-day basis? Can you, when you talk about the third and gotta have it, right? I was at the Nebraska game when Nebraska kicked his teeth in, and he then went and threw his whole O-line under the bus after the game, right? Like, that stuff doesn't fly in the NFL. Because there's going to be a 32-year-old offensive line crusty vet that looks at you and goes, take your stupid chain off, get your grill out of your mouth, or I'm going to punch your teeth out the next time you say something like that. That scares away teams of taking quarterback like that in the first round because of the circus that comes with it. And he didn't do anything to mitigate that in the pre-draft process. If anything, he just threw fire on it.
And that's that really hard to quantify but very existent it factor.
Yes.
Like, part of the thing is, sadly, Christian Ponder had zero it factor. Whether he was good, bad, or indifferent physically, he did not have the mentality to not just play in the National Football League, but carry a team.
Yes.
And I think that becomes one of the most important things. And that's why quarterback evaluations to me are tough, because they're made on what we see on the field. But these teams poke and prod for a reason. And there are some positions where I think they do it too much and it gets to be a little bit much. Quarterback, I don't think that. I think you cannot make your decision on a young man who's going to lead your franchise and, by the way, cost you potentially millions of dollars. I don't think that you can do that until you know who the person is. And if you're wrong, that's how people easily lose jobs.
By the way, Albert Breer from SI.com, I love how sometimes, like, the information that comes out after the fact or whatever, it says, this is going to be painted as a slide for Shedeur Sanders. The reality is, it's not a slide. Most teams didn't see him as a first rounder. A lot of people didn't want to hear that, but it is what it is. Doesn't mean he can't succeed. He can still succeed. But I gotta think someone moves back up to grab him in the first round, get that the 5-year rookie scale contract.
Why? Like, what is the allure of Shedeur Sanders?
Well,
do you think he's that talented that he's a first rounder?
Supply and demand of the most important position in the league is the allure, because there's always 5 or 6 teams that are desperate. But it's interesting because the Steelers are one of those teams, and their next pick isn't until the 3rd round.
Right.
Because they traded a 2nd rounder for DK Metcalf, right?
Yes.
So the Steelers, who have a playoff team, a defense, weapons, Mason Rudolph is their quarterback, and I heard a shout out, they either know that Aaron Rodgers is coming for a year and it's a stopgap, or they dislike Shedeur Sanders that much through the process that they passed on him in this spot.
He was in their building, took a 30 visit. Mike Tomlin doesn't put up with that nonsense.
Right.
Like, he's not about that.
And that's the interesting thing, though, is a team that might come back into the first round and take him is a poorly run team that's panicked. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. And I mean, Mike, Chuck Noll, 1969 to 92, Bill Cowher, 92 to 2006, Mike Tomlin, 2006 to current day. When's the last time the Steelers made a move, and they made wrong moves, but when's the last time that they made a move out of desperation that people thought they were going to lose their jobs? Like, as big of a dumpster fire as the Jets and Browns are, it's not that the Steelers win every year, but they're always competitive, and they do not fear.
Yeah.
They don't make moves in fear.
Yeah, that's a great point. And to their credit, Tomlin knows that he can win without an all-star quarterback, right? And so he's probably going to the owners going, I'm not willing to put my job on the line for Shedeur Sanders, right? You guys can draft him, but I'm not willing to do that. And he has enough respect in an organization that they listen to him when he says stuff like that.
The interesting one, you guys, is the Saints.
Yeah, with Derek Carr's shoulder.
Yeah.
I honestly, and this is just a dime store sports dad theory, I honestly think that there is a chance that the Saints are going to accept their fate and monitor Arch Manning and hope that they can get him next year.
Just go win about 3 games with
I don't even know that Arch is that guy, but I mean, it feels like the Saints are bailing, and I love a team to dump as much as the next guy. So if that's what they're doing, congratulations.
Amazing. Hey, so yeah, we're getting real close to the Vikings potentially being on the clock. So as of right now, the Chargers pick is in at 22. Waiting on final word for who it is, but the Green Bay Packers are technically on the clock at 23 right now. Let's boo their asses.
You go.
Yeah. So we are within just minutes of the Vikings being on the clock here, and we'll see if they wind up getting a trade back deal that they like, or if they stick and pick. Judd.
Question for the crowd: boos or cheers? Are you going to be upset if the Vikings trade back from 24?
Oh. Okay. So cheer if you want them to trade back.
Interesting.
That's amazing.
Smart fans.
I love it.
Smart.
I love that,
You're
like,
educated from your show.
Like, pretty much everyone, I feel like 90% of people are still here almost 3 hours into, the start of this, but a lot of people have been here for like 4, 5, 6 hours across the street. And it sounds like 90% of you would love them to do nothing tonight, which is amazing.
But you get more draft picks, like 6 picks. Yeah, I love it.
Amazing.
Omari and Hampton, by the way.
Omari and Hampton.
To the Chargers.
To the Chargers.
Great fit. This is the guy who's going to become Frank Gore on that offense. He's not necessarily his own guy, but if he has a hole, he'll hit it. He'll hit it fast. He'll hit it hard. He'll break tackles. And at 225 pounds, he's got breakaway speed.
Will Justin Herbert throw a forward pass in the 25 season?
If Jim Harbaugh had it his way, they would run 70 times a game and Herbert would throw 5.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. Like, you look at Jim Harbaugh's history and then his offensive coordinator, Greg Roman's history. Greg Roman is always like 32nd in pass attempts as an offensive coordinator. And they've got this $55 million sports car as a quarterback. Well, he turns into a
pumpkin,
a lesser car in the playoffs, I guess.
You go.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go back to, can we get Forno's big board here? The Vikings are on the clock in minutes. So give us a refresher on the best fits available still on the board here when they hit the clock at 24, Forno.
Yeah, so if you take a look at the big board, I love Savon Revel Jr., the cornerback, East Carolina. I think he's a great fit. Jahad Campbell, it gives you 2 true 3-down linebackers that can do everything for you, and then allows Ivan Pace to play in a more specialized role. Luther Burden, if you want that yak guy to pair with the route running savants of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Then you have Malachi Starks, the Georgia safety, who with GPS data is a much better athlete than you would look at from a relative athletic score perspective. And then if you go down a little bit further, Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle, is down at 23 on my board. Nick Gordon, the edge rusher at Texas A&M. And then Nick Amon-Wari at 25, the South Carolina safety. There is talent here, but considering you have both Revel and Campbell with injury concerns, that may push them down into the second round. If you have a good enough trade where you feel you are getting requisite value, I would take that in a heartbeat and then use that capital at the top of the second round to take one of those players.
That's the play. You're looking to move back
to
33. There's enough guys, and reevaluate late tonight into tomorrow, throughout tomorrow. You work out a trade with Andrew Berry. Let Andrew and Kevin move up, get Shador, or maybe it's Jackson Dart, maybe it's Jalen Milroe, one of these quarterbacks, but you allow Cleveland to come up, you're going back and drafting tomorrow.
What's the return?
Yeah, can we bring up, Forno, do you have like a draft value chart here? So let's go through if it's the Browns. Yeah, he pulls it out of his back pocket.
He's like, it's funny you should mention that. I've had this for 6 years.
If it's the Browns or the Giants, it's a quarterback team that wants to move back in. What kind of compensation are we talking here? It's not just based on that chart, obviously, but.
So when Doogie and I were talking about it initially, before he ended up mentioning 33 and 36 on the stage, I took a look at what it would look like to give picks 24 and 97 and get back 33 and 36. And I use this shiny app from a guy named Joseph Hefner. It's called Happy's Handiwork. It gives you all the different trade charts. If they were to make that trade, the Vikings would win across the board. They would get an early third-round pick in value in the conventional charts, and then anywhere from a mid-third to an early fifth in value on the analytical charts. Now, the analytical charts are based a little differently. Over the caps is based more on what the contract is than anything else. And then you have like the PFF and the Stewart are a little bit more from like a wins above replacement kind of perspective. So historically, Kwesi has lost in the conventional charts and won in the analytical charts, which kind of speaks to his model. And I think his model has value, but if you're not understanding what the rest of the world is doing, then you're losing value. And I think that's where he can really grow as a general manager, how to merge his trade chart with everybody else's thinking.
So on the trade front here, Ian Rappaport from NFL Network, he reports that the Packers are getting trade calls right now at 23, and the Chargers were getting trade calls at 22. Now it's possible the chart. Let's just speculate. These are the early second-round teams that are looking to go up for a quarterback. the Chargers might have said, that sounds great, but we don't want to move back 10 picks because we think Omarion Hampton is worth more to our offense.
Because our coach just wants to run all day.
Correct. He wants to run this dude into dust, basically. But it feels like, and we'll see what the Packers do, but it feels like this is going to be a theme as the Vikings get on the clock at 24-2, that the phone will clearly be ringing, and you have to decide, is moving back 9 or 10 picks worth it based on the capital? I think it's a yeah. I mean, the Vikings have the fewest picks of any team in the league, and the next chance you have to accumulate extra picks is 97, and then it's like you're getting 6th and 7th round picks to expand your stash, not maybe a day 2 pick.
If the defensive tackles weren't gone,
yes,
I think I would stick.
Yep.
Now that they're gone, I don't even believe that this is a hard decision.
I agree with you. Let's accumulate picks. Let's find ways. There's going to be a lot of really good interior alignment in day 2, right? Guys like Josh Connerly are going to be still sitting there. Tate Ratledge is still going to be sitting there, right? You're going to be able to find, and that's where a lot of good value O-line picks come, is in day 2. Accumulate some more picks, see what you can get out of it, and save yourself some cap room, not having a first-round pick on your roster for a year.
Jordan Schultz saying the Eagles are discussing moving up with the Packers.
Oh. That'd be a Milroe team. They could draft Milroe because he fits so well behind Jalen Hurts.
And before anyone says, well, they already have Jalen Hurts. Well, they drafted Jalen Hurts when they had Carson Wentz.
That could be a Milroe team because, like we talked about pairing skill sets, Milroe and Hurts are not far off.
Is there a feeling that if Milroe, 100% works out, is Lamar and Jalen Hurts combined? Like what's the projection there?
I'm not sure.
Because that's what I would be curious about. Yeah. But I mean, it is that to me would strike me as a very Howie Roseman Eagles GM move.
Yeah. Well, you have to think about it too. They just paid Cam Jurgens. He's $17 million a year now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people making a lot of money on that team, including Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
You want to bring in his successor, so maybe I would have to look at the structure of the contract, but maybe there's an out clause in 2 years. Maybe there's an out clause and you can keep the core group of the O-linemen and Saquon and all that, and then move on from Jalen Hurts before he goes. And because his cap hit in 2029, Mackie, we looked at it, was like, was it like 80 million or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah, and what they're doing there is it sounds like they're projecting the new TV deal to be in place and the cap to skyrocket even more.
I hope so.
Agent guy over here.
I really hope so.
Keep it going up.
Yep.
Oh, it'll keep going up. The question is, how much will Goodell and the boys share with you? That's the real question.
Now, the Packers are really bleeding down this clock. They're under a minute.
Well, they're on the phone. They're talking trades. And the Packers are going to do something here in the next minute or two. So the Vikings are about to be on the clock. So it's a good time for just a quick reset here as we plow our way through almost 3 hours in to this live show here at the Fillmore, the 2025 Purple Daily Draft Party, presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Another shout out to our friends at Roku, 2 Men in a Junk Truck, Bricksworth, Element Hotel, Park Dental, Podrigs, Continental Diamond, just some amazing partners that help us put this event on. This has been a fun night. There's been some crazy stuff here, and it sounds like the Vikings are going to have some phone calls. By the way, Peter Schrager said, according to the Steelers passing on Shedeur Sanders, that this is Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, and that's the future.
Okay.
So it's now being reported credibly that, by the way, the Packers are picking. They have not traded.
Oh, that's good for us.
Yep.
That's good for us.
The pick is in for the Green Bay Packers, which means the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock.
Hey, hold on. I gotta get the flag.
Pop up.
I gotta get up. Hold on. I'm old.
Go.
There we go. Oh, look at that. There we go. There. I had to get that mic cord around the chair.
The sports dad.
Oh, I'm gonna be sore in the morning.
Let's go, dude. All right. Hey, by the way, give yourselves a round of applause. 3 hours grinding it out here. The Vikings are on the clock with the 24th overall pick.
We're 30 minutes earlier than last year.
Yeah, this is great.
We're cruising.
Yeah, because last year really
dragged. Yeah, last year was terrible.
We did kind of map it out just to figure, like, all right, let's let's pin it down. And it was like 10:15 that the 24th, 25th pick came around. So
Phil sent a list with where the picks were made.
Yeah.
What time?
We're like 3 hours past Phil's bedtime.
Show prep anxiety. Yeah, it is. It is. The Mackies would normally be, probably in bed about 15 minutes ago. So, unless there's a playoff game. So, all right, the Packers have made their pick.
Receiver?
The Packers have made their pick. They have finally taken a wide receiver in the first round. Matthew Golden, wide receiver to the Green Bay Packers.
The one Packer fan here.
We have a Packer fan.
Where are you? He's a Packer fan. He loves it. That takes a lot of guts to come here wearing a Packer jersey. I told you that before.
But you're a Timberwolves fan. All right, that's right. Yeah. Okay, you can redeem yourself if you get a Wolves in 5 chant going right now.
Beautiful.
Love it.
All right, Vikes.
Everyone gets along.
All right.
Do something.
Wild and 6. Okay.
Wild and 6.
Yeah, let's go.
Wild winning tonight. I think it's 2-1 still. Last I looked.
So, all right, over to the scoop sofa over here. Boys, Doogie and then Forno. What are we thinking Vikings on the clock right now?
I mean, they're entertaining calls. I mean, whether it's the Browns, the Giants, we just heard the Eagles report. I'm not trading with Howie Roseman. I'm out on that. I am not making a move with the Eagles. So while I'm open to moving back, it's not with Philadelphia, okay?
Yeah.
But whether it's the Browns, the Giants, perhaps the Chiefs at 31, the Vikings are on the phone right now.
Yeah, you trade with Howie Roseman, you're putting yourself in a Brandon Beane situation where you're the Bills trading with the Chiefs, and you're like, what are you doing? Why would you do this to yourself? Because I was talking with one of the lovely people in the audience, like, hey, if it's the Vikings' year to win the Super Bowl, which I do think it is, who do they have to beat? It's the Eagles. Right, the Eagles are still the top dog in the NFC. Don't allow them to get any stronger tonight.
Well, you're hoping in May that at the next owners' meetings or whatever that they just get rid of the tush push, and then the Eagles come down.
No shot.
Come down a notch, I guess.
Hey, the Packers want to get rid of it. You know, the Packers carry a lot of weight in this league.
Packers are, sorry.
It's a lot of whining and crying.
Yeah.
Forno, over to you on the scoop sofa. What are you thinking? Vikings are on the clock right now.
I think you should try and trade back, but I also think that you just don't trade back for anything. Make sure you're getting requisite value, because if you take a poor trade now, that's going to hinder everything that you try to do moving forward. So make sure you're getting a good trade. If you don't, I think one of Revel, Campbell, Burden, or Starks, I would feel very happy with any of those guys.
Yeah, so it's very secondary heavy right now, right?
Yeah, you can get your pick of the litter in the secondary. It's bonkers how many guys are available. It's only been Travis Hunter, who's a half and half player, and Jade Barron. That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is available.
Yeah, there's been some. I've seen a bunch of reports coming through here, by the way, on the Michigan cornerback Will Johnson, that the medicals are why he's falling.
Yes.
So
I think they're going offensive line.
The pick is in.
Oh.
Here we go.
Okay.
They're getting their Blake Brando replacement.
With the 24th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Ohio State offensive lineman Donovan Jackson. Judd, get the flag.
I know someone who's very happy on this stage, and he's sitting to my left. Hold on. There we go. Get those flags out. The offensive line, 5 deep.
Donovan Jackson.
Wow.
So the Vikings have, in theory, found the final piece to their offensive line here. Forno, I know Forno, you got to jump and do some work. Just a quick evaluation before you go off into A-job land here for a second.
Donovan Jackson was a stud at left guard for Ohio State. Then after Josh Simmons ended up tearing his patella, kicked out to left tackle, and he went on such an insanity run, there was some discussion whether he should be given a shot at tackle in the NFL. But I think one of the things Jeremiah and I talked about before the show is if you put Tyler Booker in there, you can just move people. And I think Jackson can do some of that. A little bit of a lesser extent. He's not quite Booker, but I do think he gives you a really solidified interior of that offensive line. I ended up being wrong. I didn't think that they would take a guy on the offensive line, but they believe he can be a day one starter, which is what this pick tells me. And if he's a day one starter, Blake Brandel's making swing money anyways. So now you feel really comfortable with J.J. McCarthy, and you have a good core in front of him. And you know what? Now you only have to worry about replacing center in the next couple years. Like, you feel good about it.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick. You know, I had my reservations on Donovan Jackson, and I still do from an athletic profile piece. However, he is as solid as it comes when you ask for a consistency standpoint. Right? He comes from an Ohio State team that has played tremendous talent, has been up and down. He's played SEC, he's played Big Ten. His ability to swing to tackle is probably what pushed him up into the first round. He was probably more of a day two pick if he just stayed at guard. His ability to swing at tackle, and now you're looking at, okay, bring back our guy, Darisaw, Jackson, Kelly, Fries, O'Neal.
Wow.
I'll take that
They got
any
five.
day of the week.
I think that's worthy of our vice president of Skullchan
Absolutely.
operations here again. All right, John, fire it up, dude. Let's go.
do it, baby.
Yeah. That's right.
So Jay, if Darisaw is not ready to start the season, because he's coming off, I know there's been time, but he's coming off a very significant knee injury. Does Brandel kick out to left tackle and Jackson play left guard, or does Jackson kick out to tackle? What's the solution there potentially?
I think you keep Brandel out to tackle because you'd want Donovan to find his home and stay in his home.
Okay.
Let's not let's not.
You stay here.
You stay
in your
right
home.
here and develop into what we drafted you to be.
Okay.
Forno, you had a piece. What'd you say?
Yeah, so I don't know if the Vikings were offered this trade, but the Giants just moved up to 25, giving up $34.99 and a future third.
Woo.
So either they, one, weren't offered this trade by the Giants, or two, they were offered it and thought that Jackson was too good to pass up.
Yeah.
So that would tell you how much and highly they think of what Jackson's going to bring.
I think it's the latter, that there's even a fear that Houston here at 25 was going to go with Jackson. Jackson came here a couple weeks ago. The visit was said to be phenomenal. I just wonder, deep down, was Houston really going to take him?
Yeah.
Would you have felt better going Jackson at 33 or 36, not 24? But the number one goal tonight, I'm positive, was to replace Blake Brandel.
Yeah. Well, Dukes, think
and
about
so they accomplished that. It's not Booker, it's not Zabel, but they still got a guy I'm sure they love.
Kevin O'Connell, to bring it full circle back to 3 hours ago when we started the show. Kevin O'Connell stood at that podium after the Vikings got bounced from the playoffs, seething, and ripped his interior offensive line. He decided at that podium, we are replacing 3 starters along the interior of our offensive line for J.J. McCarthy to come in. And through free agency, they found a new starting center, a new right guard, and through the first round of the draft, they found a new starting left guard. He literally made that decision
and those last
minutes after they lost that game to the Rams.
And don't forget, too, those last 2 games, you know, if you go back to training camp last year, and I've talked about this, O'Connell wanted this to be a tougher team. He takes it very personally that the Vikings were considered to be a nice, sort of soft team.
Yeah, finesse.
And he sort of got that for the start of the season. But then when you got to the Lions game and the Rams game, they got pushed around. But I also think that this is, and this is, to me, this is the best part, the realization, and you'll love this, Jay, the realization that you have to have an offensive line that can push people around so you can get rushing yards. Like I think we have seen, I think the biggest thing, the maturation. The maturation of Kevin O'Connell, 22, 23, 24, now this coming season, I think is the realization that if he wants to ever have his passing game be as good as it can be, the running game has to improve, and you can't shortchange it anymore.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. You look at the teams that make the deep Super Bowl runs, the teams that are consistently into the playoffs. Look what the Bills did this year. They were like, Josh Allen, we love you, you're great. We're going to run the ball with James Cook. Right? We're going to commit to the run game, and it's the one thing Kevin O'Connell hasn't been able to do. I question, did he want to do it? I think with this pick tonight, it's a clear cut. We're going to commit to running the football.
Yeah.
I also wonder too, and this is just again a theory, but you know, it's interesting that if you think about it, the Vikings traded up twice last year, first round, They stayed in 23 to take Addison. And I do wonder how much the 22 draft affected the perception in the building of, we tried to outsmart the system. You get more picks, you get 10 picks, but there's 30% of that draft left. So I do wonder if there is now a prevailing theory of if we've got an idea of what we want, we'll either trade up to get it or we'll get it where we are. But accumulating picks is only valuable if you then kill it in the accumulation of the draft picks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that clip of KOC telling Kwesi, hey, Addison, just take Jordan
Check
Addison.
that news out that just
popped across our screen.
Yeah, the Giants jumped up to 25, and they took the second quarterback in tonight's draft, right? They took Jackson Dart.
Wow. No, that's great. That's great news.
So Shedeur Sanders is falling past Jackson Dart.
The Giants are gianting.
I didn't have Jackson Dart in my top 100.
No. Wow.
There is not one single thing about Jackson Dart that tells me he can be a successful starting quarterback in the league.
Joe Judge's and Brian Dable's replacements are going to be given a great defense. Seriously.
Judge, congratulations. You're the new head coach of the Giants. How you feeling?
Exactly right. I mean, this is just incredible, though. This is just incredible. I love people trying to save their football jobs.
Yeah. Jackson
Here's the
Dart,
question.
Jameis Williams, Russell Wilson. I need a camera in that, that O-line.
Get him back on Hard Knocks.
I need a
Get him back
Hard
on
Knocks.
Hard
Got to
Knocks.
come
Let's
back
go.
into that.
I'm awaiting confirmation, but I think it's an easy leap to believe the Giants called the Vikings. They offered 34, 99, and next year's third-round pick, and the Vikings said no.
Yeah.
Clearly, they thought Jackson was not going to be there at 34.
Yeah.
They had enough intel. They got their guy. I'm just wondering in the end, will they regret not making that trade?
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, in 2022,
yeah, I think that's what happened.
They decided, hey, the capital is more important than Kyle Hamilton or whoever else they could have taken. I think this is Kwesi. And again, I'll go back to the Vikings put that YouTube video out after the draft 2 years ago. Yep. And Kwesi was like on the phone. He had a couple deals, and KOC's like, dude, Addison, let's stick and pick here.
Right.
Let's make this happen. Hey, real quick, you guys, for those of you who are still here, we appreciate you hanging out with us for all 3 hours. Give yourselves a round of applause. We're going to stay live, by the way, until the end of the first round. So you're welcome to hang out with us. For those of you on the YouTube channel, we had 10,000 concurrent viewers at the time of that pick. So thank you guys for helping us grow this thing. If you haven't clicked that like button or the subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, please do so and help us keep building this incredible community of Vikings fans. It's been so much fun meeting so many of you. People from different states. Last year we had 29 different states represented. I don't know, I met people from probably half the states in the country tonight too. So, and then a shameless plug for our merch store. I know we have some new stuff here tonight at scorenorth.com/shop. That's scorenorth.com/shop. We got the Minnesota math, 9 + 18 = 6. We got the Minnesota QB rehab school swag, JJ to JJ. So yeah, and the QR code's on the screen here too, but scorenorth.com/shop. The Falcons are trading back into round 1 right now.
Milrow probably.
Shedeur. Yeah.
Michael Penix and Shedeur Sanders. And Kirk Cousins.
Terry Fontenot, you don't know. I mean, the dude took Michael Penix last year.
I think they're doubling down at edge. I think this is Mike Green.
Oh.
Well, they should.
They should. Oh, you got hot takes coming in, Forno?
Oh, he's got a radio. He's got a radio head.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a radio head.
We lost half
Tyler's
the scoop
big
couch.
time.
We lost half the scoop
Dude,
couch.
you can lay down on the scoop couch now. You're good over there.
Real quick, back to before we move on about the Vikings saying no to that trade.
And I'm waiting for confirmation.
No,
I don't know that for sure.
but like
logically, the Giants made that offer.
And I think that if they wanted a true starting lock guard, they weren't willing to bet that was going to be there in the third.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like they weren't willing to bet that was going to be there in the third, or maybe even the guy that they really wanted to be there at 36. Right? Because that's what, was it 39 or 36 that they got?
Well, 34.
34.
So you would have moved back 10 spots if they felt like Jackson wasn't going to be there, which I respect, I get.
Because I
understand
think
it.
Houston could have taken Jackson.
I think Houston was going to take
Houston
Jackson.
Takes Jackson.
Hometown guy, I think they thought Houston was taking Jackson.
And they got rid of Shaq Mason is out, Kenyon Green was out, Laramie Tunsil was out. That is a huge position of need for them. I think they were really nervous that, hey, even if we get out of this, we might lose our guy. And to your guys' point, I think I love that for this organization because it shows to me that they're willing to adapt, willing to grow, willing to learn from their mistakes.
Field Yates, by the way, one of the great football names in football media. So Field Yates says, Donovan Jackson to the Vikings just might be my favorite pick of the night.
Hey! If Field says it, it's true.
By the end of this past season, he put elite tape on both guard and left tackle, an extremely dependable, selfless player. He's tough, rugged, and athletic. Excellent football player. I also pulled up, just for fun here, the NFL.com scouting profile from Lance Zierlein. Oh, you're going to love this here.
No, yeah.
Let me hover over the football sounder. So, broad-framed 3-year starter. You're kind of broad-framed, Jeremiah. Yeah. With core power and leg drive to hold the line of scrimmage or change it.
Football.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Guard prototype with thick chest, broad hips, long arms, and big hands. Able to punch and stay clinched from a distance.
Football.
Good night.
Uses core power, hip flexion, and hand resets to thwart the bull rush.
Football. Hip flexion sounds like an 80s band.
And uses length and upper body power to thump gap shooters.
Football.
Yeah.
Thumping's important, right?
Thump them. You got to thump them.
Thump their asses. That's right.
So do we also think that tonight, and it feels like the last 3 drafts, you know, Addison, 23, the first pick in 24, you traded up 1 pick to get McCarthy, and now this. It does feel like KO, the power there, as far as personnel goes.
Yes.
I'm not saying he has the title. I don't even know what his contract says, but it really does feel like overall he's running the draft now. Draft 1, I would say that wasn't necessarily the case. And I know that they traded up to get Dallas Turner last year, and that's where the meme came from, KO, you know, like, whoa, wow. So I'm not saying he's running the entire draft, but it does feel like he has that first pick is his.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the Wizard of the Oz, right? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, right? Kwesi, go on up there. It will be, but like, I'm back here just definitely pulling the strings on where we want to go. And I'm all right with that. Yeah. I'm 100% okay with that because while I love Kwesi and I think he's very intelligent and I think he's got a really good plan, I don't think he is in his core, like Kevin O'Connell, a football guy.
Correct.
Right, like to know what it is to bleed on the gridiron, to wear the shield, to know what you have to do to win.
Now you're just
games.
hunting for the football sounder.
I love the football sounder, dude.
You know what,
but like I don't think at his core he's not a football guy, and that's okay. There's a lot of successful guys in here, but if they can work tandemly, and KOC goes, listen, I know what you're good at. Let's work together and allow me to work with some of the personnel that I want to build my system, and then you can work with the numbers and how we're going to fit the gap and all that stuff. That's where the magic can really happen with those two.
Hey, what's the worst you ever bled on the gridiron?
The stupid finger, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty gross.
Yeah, look at his little.
You got the baldy finger.
His Star Trek hand
it's
there.
Pretty bad. I mean, that one, or I guess when I tore the ankle up a couple times too. So that's pretty good.
Baldy's got the one, but I think it's going like east.
Yeah, Baldy's is really bad. Have you seen? I think it's Woody Page or Alan Page, who's got the pinky.
Yeah,
it comes way down here. Yeah, that one's pretty bad too. Ooh, what do you got?
Okay, so the Falcons pick is in at number 26, and it's defensive end James Pierce Jr.
There you go.
All right. James Pierce Jr. So that puts the Ravens on the clock at 27. We have 6 picks left in the first round here. Last year they made their pick and then they moved back in. I don't think the Vikings are moving back into the first round here with only 3 picks remaining and none until 97. There's definitely a couple other things we're going to get into here that we haven't yet tonight. But let's keep going back. So Donovan Jackson is I love this for so many reasons. Just to put a bow on this conversation, and you kind of touched on it, Jay. With conviction, saying no to trade offers, knowing what you want. I'd rather, my grandpa was a trumpet player, and when he was teaching a young 10-year-old Phil Mackey how to play the instrument, right, he said, if you're going to make a mistake, make it confidently and loudly. And these teams that kind of maneuver their way back, I love it that they've said, hey, Jordan Addison, he's our guy. Donovan Jackson, he's our guy. And now this offensive line, with some of the depth behind it too, feels more loaded than it's been in a long time. So that's kind of my final thought. Yeah, I love this for the Vikings.
The one piece that I think is missing from this Vikings O-line is a true swing tackle. right? I mean, obviously you took Walter Rouse in the 6th last year. He's got some guard flex. We haven't seen a huge sample size of him, and you'd hope that he'd take some jumps, and maybe you guys would have better info on that than me, being at training camp practices and whatnot. But I do think in this draft there is a chance, depending on where they see guys, that there could be a swing tackle taken of a developmental guy that wants to come in and push Brian O'Neill as he gets older, right? Have a guy that if Darisaw gets dinged again, right? I do think a swing tackle might still be in play, unless they view Jackson as possibly being a swing tackle and being able to plug Brandel in if something were to happen.
What's Brandel's, in your opinion, what's his ability in that position for 2025? So he's the swing guy at tackle. Like he can do it, I know, but just from what you've seen of him, do you think that he would be serviceable? Because you got a left tackle coming off a major knee injury, and you got a right tackle who is getting along in the tooth and also has been dinged up, quite a bit in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think Brandel's best position is tackle.
Okay.
Right. I think he needed to fill a need at guard. They realized there's some guys that are better in space than they are in a phone booth, right? And I think that Brandel is one of those guys that when he has space to work and he can get out and use his length effectively, it looks better than when all of a sudden he's got to move quickly in a tight space to get to length, right? I do believe that that's probably better, and he's probably looking at like the 6th man type of thing where anyone that gets hurt, we feel really comfortable having that piece to move into. Started a lot of games, been in there, he could play all 4 positions there. That's a good place to be, to bring in some developmental guys to hopefully try and phase him out as you go through into years 26, 27, 28.
Let's throw it back to our guy Crisco from KS95, doing a great job in the audience tonight. Crisco.
Thank you, and I do want to say it's about to be the 3rd period. The Wild are up 4-1.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so 4-1, Wild are up going into the 3rd period.
Wow.
I'm here with Manny from St. Paul, and he has a hot take followed by a question. Let's get your hot take first, buddy.
I love this. All right, so the hot take is or actually more or less, the Vikings offensive line will not allow the most sacks in the NFL this season.
Okay. Oh, you're saying like the fewest sacks?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so that's your hot take,
Okay,
and then what's
okay.
your question about Tom Brady's comment?
So then my question is, what do you guys believe from Tom Brady when he says when he's talked to JJ that he sees a younger version of himself?
Yeah, well, on one hand, it is Tom Brady's moral, ethical football duty to pump the tires of every Michigan quarterback and player. So, but yeah, I think, Tom is a tire pumper. Like, that's his personality. But yeah, I think he does go out of his way to say good things about J.J. McCarthy, and that's a good thing. Oh, is it post-game brew time?
Yeah.
Dexter.
You're handing those out.
Oh, we're getting brought beers?
Handing those out.
Chug it.
Have a great night.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
To the O-line question, I don't think we can do that just with the amount that we pass the football. Right? The team that's going to give up the fewest sacks is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers because they're only going to throw it 150 times this year. Yeah. We'll surpass that by week 6. Right? So just by the law of averages, we're going to give up too many sacks this year just because we throw. It's like the Bengals. Right? The Bengals are going to throw the ball out the livelong day. You're going to give up more sacks the more attempts that you have of throwing the football. Yeah. KOC's DNA is pass.
Yeah. Cyrils, how tough is that too from when you're going, all right, so he's played left guard a few years ago. He then moves to tackle in 2024. We've heard all the time. I think it's easy for football fans and Viking fans to say, hey, just put tackle at guard. And I know that is not as simple as it just sounds. It's like in baseball, people, make him a reliever. Well, little different situation here. How difficult is that transition to going from tackle into the interior for guard?
Yeah, it's super. The timing is what's so different, right? Guys that have played tackle for their whole career are used to, hey, let me push out of my stance here, and I've got a yard of separation, and I have time to process and think before he makes a move or before I can throw my hands and get to him. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's move you inside here. And the second you put your hand in the dirt, and you're like, dude, back up. Like, you're way too close to me. Like, and Aaron Darnold or Dexter Lawrence is just trying to take up every inch of that neutral zone you have. Things just happen so much faster inside at guard. And you have to have so much more of a mental makeup at guard with, hey, How am I identifying blitzers? How am I working with the center when this is the Mike point and the Mike point decides he's going to bail? We have to kick out to the nickel coming off the edge. That's a lot to process. Oh, by the way, Dexter Lawrence coming straight down my chest.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many things that the processing versus 99% of the time when you're playing tackle, your job is to block the werewolf on the edge, right? Take him, make sure he doesn't kill your quarterback.
Dude,
I have a question for Jeremiah. Is this a one-off, or is this like a new phenomenon that 3 guards
I know
went in the top 24?
That's wild.
I have a theory on this, okay?
Because I don't think Jackson was their top-rated guard.
I think Zabel was.
But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're picking 24, it's hard to expect that you're going to get the number 1 player at the position you're targeting.
But here's
the
the thing.
Vikings accomplished their number 1 goal tonight.
Yes.
So you can celebrate that. But how shocking is it? 3 guards, top 24?
Very.
You tell me if I'm wrong on this, but listen, I played some football in 8th grade.
Oh, yeah.
So I know a little something.
Buffalo Middle School?
Yeah, community middle school at the time, yeah, BCMS. But if I've learned one thing from being on the O-line committee and soaking in a decade and a half of NFL experience, it's that recently it feels like teams have gone so aggressive with interior pass rushers and even some of the schemes they run to get guards on an island. And so if you got guards doing things that tackles are supposed to do on an island sometimes, and if there's guards that are tackle-like in their abilities, teams are going to swoop those guys in the first round, especially in today's age with these ridiculous interior pass rushers, right?
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
no, you're 100% right. And with not just the interior pass rushers, but taking the edge guys and having a NASCAR package where you're bringing 4 defensive ends to rush when it's 3rd and 8.
Right.
And you need to have a guy at guard that has the athletic ability to stay in front of a guy that runs 4.4, 4.5 and is 275 pounds. The hard part of that is you also want to make sure that guard can move the 330-pound roadblock that's in front of him to get going. It's why Will Fry's made $77 million. It's why Landon Dickerson's making $21 million. It's why Robert Hunt's making $20 million. Those things have become so important because as we watched Braden Fisk and as we watched guys from the Rams, push from the middle kills quarterbacks. It kills their timing. It kills their confidence. It kills their ability to escape out of the pocket. That's the number 1 killer for quarterbacks right now. Ask Caleb Williams. He got absolutely murdered last year.
And I think there's no question about this. Garrett Bradbury is gone in large part because J.J. McCarthy's the quarterback next season, and O'Connell had no interest in seeing a guy with 0 sand in his pants get pushed around. Like I think with Cousins, I think with a veteran, he thought, okay, we can manage this, but with McCarthy, he's like, no. The other thing, though, that I find to be so intriguing about this whole new world of offensive linemen as well is the amount of, because I don't remember this at all 10 years ago, guards that are considered potential tackles. Like it feels to me like if you were a guard, you were a guard or a center, but you were not just going to kick out to tackle. And now some very elite athletes are doing that or considered capable of that, and that's a real change in my opinion about the scouting and the whole process of linemen.
Yeah, I mean, the age of the AQ Shipleys of the 6-foot-tall, 300-pound center guard doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right? The guards are 6'4" is the standard and more like 6'5", 6'6", and then your tackles are 6'7", 6'8". Right? That's just people are bigger. People are bigger and larger, and you have to be able to get in front of these guys and cover them up.
And they're athletes.
And they're hell
really good athletes.
Will Campbell ran a 4.98. That's really impressive.
Real quick, couple things here. So the Ravens at 27 have selected Georgia safety Malachi Starks.
Who the Vikings like. So another guy, if you're going from 24 to 34, the Vikings had the intel that Starks wasn't going to be there at 34.
Yeah. The Ravens just take good players who fall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you pair him with Kyle Hamilton, that's a hell of a back end.
I was going to say,
that is gross. A hell of a back end.
Yeah, they have some good safeties there in Baltimore.
And we have Kevin O'Connell has spoken to the media about Donovan Jackson here. I'm just going to read you some quotes here that are coming across Vikings Twitter. So Kevin O'Connell said about the Vikings first-round pick, "We see Donovan as a huge impact player for us on the inside." He also added, "He's very lethal at the point of attack. They ran behind him a ton. It's that second-level finish in the run game, play through the whistle kind of mentality."
Football.
So, I mean, that's the other thing. We talk about the interior pass rush being a problem throughout the year. But with revamping the offensive line, KOC talking about the run-blocking ability of Donovan Jackson. And then I think, to me, actually, I think my favorite offseason acquisition was the 6th round pick or whatever it was they traded for Jordan Mason.
Yeah, dude.
Jordan Mason is, let me pull this up here from, there's a couple incredible statistical markers.
You loser.
I know Jay loves statistics. But NFL Next Gen Stats measures something called expected rush yards. So, I mean, Saquon Barkley's the king of this. That's a well-blocked play. That's an 8-yard gain, and he turns it into a 25-yard gain. I mean, like, take away the stat. That's a thing.
Yep, for sure.
Right?
Keep going with your nerd stuff.
Jordan Mason, here's the NFL leaders in rush yards over expected based on how it was blocked, player movement tracking. Running backs. Number 1, Derrick Henry last year. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. Number 3, Jordan Mason in rush yards over expected.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I stand for Jordan Mason.
For sure.
Is my grand point here.
My hottest take that I had written down earlier for tonight was I think it'd be a massive mistake for the Vikings to draft a running back early because Jordan Mason's the best back KOC has ever had. It's not even close. Look at the running backs he's had.
Yes.
Okay, so when he was in the Rams, it was Cam Akers. God bless him. That offense was passing down your throat. I could have been the running back and gotten my Super Bowl ring. Would have probably gotten seriously injured, but would have gotten a Super Bowl ring. When you look at he was OC in Washington, didn't have this back. Dalvin Cook was over the hill. Alexander Madison, they tried to make a starting thing. That didn't work. And I like Aaron Jones a lot, but Jordan Mason's easily the best back that he has ever had at his disposal.
I think the most important thing is this. Last year, the Vikings talked about being nasty. They're now nasty.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
let's go.
The lip service is gone. The Lions coming in and blasting you off the ball is gone.
Yeah.
I want to know what is their identity in the run game going to be, because you've now brought in enough pieces that I think you could be a zone first, gap scheme second, or a gap scheme zone first, or gap scheme first, zone scheme second, right? You have the versatility on that offensive line to kind of pick and choose what you want to do, and then you have the tackles with the pin and pull schemes to get on the edges after you've gone downhill, get O'Neal out on the edges, get Darisaw out on the edges, get that stuff going. I'm curious as OTAs progress and Donovan gets in there, as he gets up to speed, as training camp progresses, how do we come out of training camp going, hey, this is our identity, where I don't care if you line up with 7 guys in the front, 4 guys in the front, 3 guys in the front, this is going to work because we're going to kick your ass up front. And that's just the way we're going to do it. Yep.
How much was tonight about trying to overcome the Philadelphia Eagles?
It's all, you got to beat the king. They're the king in the NFL right now. You want to win, you got to take a shot at the king. You can't miss, right? They watch Kansas City. They watch them get slaughtered up and down the field with their offensive line not being able to get any push in the run game, getting Patrick Mahomes killed, which was glorious to watch, and just continuing to go through it. But this is right. You got to bolster yourself to take a shot at the king in the NFC.
But those last 2 games, so you played the Lions and got your ass kicked. You played the Rams and basically got destroyed.
Demolished.
And then you went home, sat on your couch and watched the playoffs. Like, what more did you need? Like, that was, you got the recipe there. Like, they sent you the recipe book. You better read it.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, that was the playoffs for me as a viewer. Just it literally pushed me off the cliff of, if you're not going to do this, you're not going to win.
So the 28th pick is in here. The Lions have selected Ohio State defensive tackle Tyleik Williams. So there are now
another
4 picks
possible
left.
Jackson spot that the Vikings just knew he wasn't getting to 34.
Yeah. So Commanders, Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles are left to pick here. We've been talking about the Vikings run game. Hey guys, thanks for coming out tonight. Really appreciate you guys. You and I sat down with Booney earlier this week. I think this would be a great time to show the viewers on YouTube and the folks that are grinding it out with us here almost to 4 hours at the Fillmore, Jordan Mason on film.
Let's do it.
So if the awesome guys in the back over there, thumbs up. So our guy Booney, we try to get Booney out here, but he's always running kids around to his own kids, not always random kids. So he's in Chicago.
Do you want to go to Crisco first before that happens?
Oh, sure, Crisco. Yeah, let's do Crisco, then we'll do a
Let's
little
go to
film
Crisco
breakdown.
first, and then we can do the film breakdown.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm here with Eric from Fargo, and you wanted to make a comment. Do you have a hot take about our pick, and you have a question?
Yeah, I got a hot take. It just feels like there's a bunch of high upside players that were there that I didn't expect to be there. somebody like Malachi Stark, somebody like Jihad Campbell, and then also with that generous Giants offer, you still could have got a very impactful player down there at 33. So my hot take is I feel like this is a very safe pick. And my question is, do you think that Kwesi not having an extension before the draft affected the tendency to make the safer bet here and not swing for the fences with a high upside player, or try to get future picks knowing if he may not be there to make those picks?
Yeah, that's so valid question and critique. I would say, I think even though Kwesi does get the final say contractually in his position, I don't think his contract status had anything to do with short-term or long-term strategy, because Kevin O'Connell is equally or maybe even more influential in the way that communication process works. So, yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think he's making decisions based on being like a lame duck general manager, and I do think an extension's on the way anyways. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna watch him operate tonight, and like you don't know if these players are gonna pan out for like 3 more years. So
this
and on the safe picks, I just don't think they thought one of their guys was going to be there at 34.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they came to the conclusion days ago that they were going left guard tonight. And it was going to be one of the guys.
Can't totally
It would have been
blame him.
Zabel if he was there. It would have been Booker if he was there. It ended up being Jackson, who they brought in for a visit. They did unreal homework on. They're plenty happy.
Yeah.
So do you think now that they do try to trade down from 97 to accumulate a few more picks? Like what's your theory, or what have you heard now that this pick is gone about what they're going to do? Because, I mean, there is a chance it's 3 more players. I got to think they're going to try, though, to get another pick or 2.
Well, who's moving up to 97 first off? I mean, maybe there's some intrigue at the end of tomorrow night. Okay, let's get up for a player.
There's a guy left.
I'm not sure there's going to be a logical trade partner. I think the sweet spot for Kwesi is 6 draft picks this weekend. I don't know if you're getting there, though.
Yeah. Sure.
If it's 4, I wouldn't be surprised, and then you're really, really aggressive Saturday afternoon signing a number of undrafted free agents.
So what we can do in a few minutes here is we'll tap into Forno and anyone else who has takes on who might be available around the 97th pick. So we'll do that in a few minutes here. But yeah, let's we corralled our guy Alex Boone before he went to Chicago for a youth hockey tournament. A film breakdown from the O-line committee, Jeremiah Searles, Alex Boone, on Vikings new running back Jordan Mason.
Okay, everyone, welcome in here to a special O-line committee film breakdown of the Vikings new running back acquisition. Jordan Mason is a Minnesota Viking. We're going to break down some film here. Alex Boone and Jeremiah Searles, 2 former Vikings who spent 16 years in the NFL trenches. You can find them on the O-line committee podcast and YouTube channel. And Jeremiah is trying to cover up that Chiefs flag in his background because he lost a bet in the playoffs last year.
Look at you. You can't even hold. Oh, God, Swifty Searles. Oh, my God.
Look at this guy.
That's such a ding.
You can thank the Bills.
SFR him right now.
You can thank Josh Allen and the Bills, okay? I bet that they were going to win the AFC Championship with my barber, and I lost. So this now lives behind me for the next, 8 months. It's not awesome.
So bad.
It's not awesome.
So we'll try to come up with another bet you can lose maybe for these playoffs. So, boys, I'm going to pop up. I just grabbed some Jordan Mason run plays here, obviously in a San Francisco uniform. You're going to see him against the Vikings defense in some of these too. So I will roll some film. You guys tell me what you're seeing here from number 24 and what's translatable to the Minnesota Vikings.
The number one thing I loved about this guy watching him last year is he's a true one-cut-and-go guy.
Yep.
And that's a tough thing to find in this league, that everyone wants to be a human joystick. Everyone wants to make the Saquon Barkley reverse hurdles. This dude is one cut, downhill.
Whoop, there he goes.
Right, there it is. Right? I mean,
look at
talk dirty.
That's what you need in this league, right? Holes don't stay open in the NFL. They open for a moment, they close just as fast. The vision, press it front sides, there's the hole, cut it, go.
That's
right?
such a
One
great
cut,
It's like the cut is here,
but
and
it allows
he's aiming
Debo,
for over here.
The cut allows Debo to get up on the safety, which is huge. Oh, this is such a great play, too. Tell me you don't love insert when you have Kittle coming in from behind.
It's the best.
So sexy.
It's the best.
Because you don't expect it, right? You're thinking it's going to be zone away. We're going to Y hide it. No, we're running 2. And now all of a sudden we got Debo coming in here and we're just smashing shit. Jay's not wrong. When you talk about a one cut and go type back, things happen so quick that if you don't get on him right now, he can make you pay. And that's what's fun about this, is you throw him in an offense that needs to obviously run the ball. They love the play action. It's going to be insane. Look at this toss.
Right. I mean, one cut.
Look
and
at
go.
this. Just look how hard he is to tackle.
Go for it, young man.
He's a very strong kid, right? Watch here, because so many times we see, pause right here. So many times on this play specifically, we see running backs think, I want to get to the edge. I want to run up the sideline. I want the big explosive play. Jordan was very good last year. Just, hey, I'm just going to allow these things to come to me, right? 51's unblocked. Let's just try and run behind my blockers. There's hats
Great
on a
job
hat
by
out
Kittle.
here.
Yep.
Right? Great perimeter blocking here. And let me just shoot the seam and get the tough 7-8 yards.
But look at that,
And
right
then
there,
I'll drag
right?
Cashman with me.
Oh, I love it. Bury him. Dude, and remember, the more times you hit them and the more times you can allow old linemen to come down and hit
Wear
the
'em
pile,
out.
we're wearing them down. We're beating on their DBs, right? Now all of a sudden the play action shows up. There's toss, same thing. One cut, go!
Right? He's not looking to circle the defense. He's not looking to hit the perimeter.
Great
he wants
vision.
to run north and
Great
south.
vision.
North and south here. Right?
Where's he cutting here?
Right
there.
There. Nah, it's not even there. It's more
Well,
like
so,
right.
So if
it's
you
going
watch
to come in two
Bullard,
steps.
Bullard does a great
There.
job on this play. Right? Bullard does actually a really nice job on this play. I know he's not even with the Vikings anymore, I don't think. But right here, number 90, right? His job is to set the edge and funnel everything back to his players, right? Everything's got to come back. So he does a nice job here against McKivitz of, hey, I've now set the edge. Right? And Mason sees that, right? This is called color in the hole, right? There's purple color in the hole on the outside. So I have to make one cut and get back up here. These guys are too far away, right? He feels this backside pressure coming. Hey, these guys are too far away. I know that I can skinny. Okay, there's another guy, purple in the hole. Now I skinny through there, right? His vision to keep pushing things front side, because the more you push front side, the more defense is going to continue to flow that way. That's when you have the vision of, hey, push front side. Okay, push front side again. Now pop out.
I feel like I can't. There's not. Dalvin Cook was incredible for a few years, but how many Vikings running backs, even Aaron Jones is good, get this many yards on a play that's not cleanly
That
blocked
gets
like
stuffed
that?
in the hole. Yeah, it's going to be a great 1-2 punch for the Vikings.
And it's going to take so much off of Aaron Jones.
Oh.
And that's the thing. The guy's getting older. He's got a ton of tread on the tire. Not that much tread on the tires left. Like, spell him when you can. Keep him fresh for when you need him. Again, oh my God. I mean, anyone,
That's well blocked.
anyone can run through that.
That's
hole. I
it.
mean,
Although,
my
but
truck
again,
could
look
have
at-
went through that hole.
He also breaks a few tackles here too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very well blocked play. I mean, yeah, they're off, and then the Gangsters got to do the hip drop. Probably didn't get fined for that one though.
They don't call that a penalty anymore.
Well, you
It was
pulled
too hard
up
to
some
believe.
highlights, didn't you, against your own team there, buddy?
I know. This is all. The
Our
Vikings defense was pretty
not
good.
looking
but
that tough that day.
This is actually it's a Vikings defense.
Now you know
intervention
why
here.
they wanted him. Yeah, they
Boone,
were
what's
like,
the front?
listen.
What's the front?
Oh, it's an under.
That's an under.
Don't you ever come at me like that again.
I've been watching-
Technically, it's
I've
kind
been
of a
watching-
30. It's a 35 because you.
I was
going
gonna
to
say, I would call
Don't
30.
you dare come at me.
I was
I
gonna
know.
say it's a 35.
No. You're not doing that to me. I am. I'm the one that teaches. Get out of here. Oh, look at that cut. Go back. Same thing, right? It's
Wait,
what
hold
Jake
on.
talked
Wait,
about.
is this allowed? So you're allowed to hand the ball to a running back and score a touchdown from inside the 15-yard line?
You don't.
I watched a bunch of Vikings games last year. I didn't see.
Go back real quick, and I'm going to show you what it is. It's actually Kittle. Go back real quick. So watch Kittle on this triple, right? I think it's him, and I believe the right tackle is
McKivitz.
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 Yep, they're gonna triple this right here, and watch how Kittle gets on the hip of
Bullard.
Bullard, sorry,
there.
right there. See how he stands him up right there, and it allows him to climb on Cashman. Now watch. Here he comes. Ready? There's the edge. You slip right in that hole. Look at that.
Right, and this is the same thing. Cashman here. Cashman
Overruns
knows that if he doesn't stay outside leverage on Kittle there, then the corner's free. Right, so Cashman has to continue to push outside of Kittle. Again, you want to funnel everything back to your boys. Right, so he knows he's got to get outside here, and that's just great vision because there's who's sitting out there as a corner. It's number 7. Is that Murphy?
Yeah, it's Byron Murphy Jr.
Right,
on
so,
the
so
outside.
Byron's the unblocked player here. Right, and Byron has the last man in contain. So instead of just saying, hey, I'm just going to run after and run over the last man of contain who's not blocked, I'm just going to trust my blockers here, get up, and then cut back here. great job by, I think that's Brendel here, getting up on Harry. That's the touchdown block. Like, that is the touchdown block. It doesn't go down in the stat sheet. It doesn't go down as anything great, but that's the effort.
back real
He's
quick.
the backside guard. That's the left guard.
Go back real quick. Can we watch Trent
That's the
Williams
center,
do
excuse me.
Trent-
That's
Can
the
we watch
center.
Trent Williams do Trent Williams things?
Does he do the slap
Why-
trap
he
technique?
does the slap on Ivan Pace Jr., and it's the fucking funniest thing because he falls on him. Watch.
Can you watch the
lays on
language,
him.
please?
Oh, stop it. Language.
And
Watch this. You come with me.
It's beautiful.
He rolls on him.
Oh my God! Trent Williams doing Trent Williams.
I would
things,
not
man.
want that to happen ever. Here we go. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, this is just all right. So now we've moved away from some of the Vikings. I mean, he did light the Vikings up pretty well. Vikings won
Dude,
that
he
game.
lit
It was-
everyone up early in the
Yeah, he was a stud.
All right, so now we got the Patriots here. They're going to try their hand.
One cut. See ya.
Whoop! Gone.
Oh, look at that.
Not gonna work here.
And this is just simple inside zone, right? You've got reaches on the front side.
Fanning, we're acing across the ball.
And
We don't
then-
even have good angles, and we make this look good.
Look at Ayuk. Bang. That's the, again, you have to, when there's explosive plays, that means the perimeter's got involved in the blocking. Right? If the perimeter doesn't get involved in the blocking, there's no explosive plays. That push crack, that's called a push crack there by Ayuk, is what allows you to go one-on-one with the corners, which historically are the worst tacklers on the field. Right? So you get your running back on a corner, that's what you're looking for. That's what you want.
You know what this is? Go back real quick. This is Duo, and he just finds his way out the backside, which is incredible. And very rarely does Duo find
This
his way
isn't
out the
Duo.
Yeah,
This is
watch.
weak- this is weak
No,
inside
because he
zone.
takes it to the other side. See, he's just reversing out. Because I thought the same thing, but look, it's Duo. He just finds the cut backside right there, and obviously we get in there and get a great block by Ayuk. But look, right there, that's what's making money, right? Like just being able to get around the DB, dude. That's huge.
Love that.
I do.
I love it. I mean, Saquon's the king of. This is a nice blocked 8-yard gain. Oh no, wait, it's 25
Touchdown.
or 75 or whatever. Right? Yeah. So all right, the vaunted Cardinals defense here.
If you can get one-on-one with the corner, you want to be able to bet on the running back. Oh, the missed tackles is what's going to be really fun to watch because, again, Aaron Jones is great. He just doesn't have the fresh legs like this kid does. Like this kid's still in the weight room, lots of stuff. He's not doing extra band work, right? He's still moving weight. It's hard to tackle, right? There's the corner
Sit
again,
down.
right? Corner again. Corners don't like to tackle, right?
don't.
If you want to make money in this league, you have to break tackles of corners, right? 23 is like-
Broken tackle there. Broken tackle there.
He barely
Nice try.
tried to tackle him. Get out of here.
They don't want to tackle.
DBs
Corners
never
don't
wanna
want to tackle. They just want to do the airplane incomplete sign over and over again until they die.
All right, got little Seahawks action here.
Divisional game.
Those old school white
Kill,
uniforms
kill,
for San
take it back to the
Francisco.
strength.
Here we go. Just that mid-zone toss. Dude.
Vicious.
Oh, look at this.
Where's the Berman? Dude.
And then the angry end of the run here
Yeah,
too.
it doesn't run out of bounds, right? So many
Hey, look,
times.
and
running-
there's Chris Burster. Oh, dude. Talk about angry people. My gosh.
Yeah, this is a great job of trusting your O-line, stretch it as long as you can, get everyone to overrun, and
He's
then
gotta
Dominic
get back
Pooney.
this way.
Dominic Pooney, the backside guard, is the one that makes this play.
It's a great job.
Dominic Pooney, the number 77. So you talk about, hey, we want
like
Will
forced
Fries, we want all that stuff. Like the backside is what makes these plays, and the perimeter. You're seeing great perimeter blocking on here. You're seeing great guys by the offensive line winning their backside reps. So we want Kelly and we want Fries and we want Brandel or a draft pick or whoever's going to be there at guard to be able to do these type of things because this is what makes Jordan Mason great. His ability to press front side and make the things in cut. That's what you really want in this league.
Look at that. Should have been just a nice little 10-yard gain there, but we're going to keep going, actually.
Love it, dude. Angry.
And we're going to get into
down
field goal
there.
range. And we're not going to run out of
Especially
bounds.
against the Seahawks, dude. Anytime you can get a run against them, give it to them.
Look at that. So, yeah, Jordan Mason, the newest acquisition at running back for the Vikings there. I mean, it kind of went from, boy, is Aaron Jones going to come back? Are they going to draft a running back early to they're really set at that position? It is a deep running back draft class.
They
so
will still draft a running back.
Yep.
I
And
think
then they'll have
I
three.
think 27 teams draft a running back this year.
Yeah, and there's that many.
And
yeah.
21 of them will be on day 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's where running backs go. You're going to get 5 to 6 that go off in day 1 and 2, and then the rest is everyone's going to take a running back in day 3.
20 seconds.
All right, boys. Thank you for making us a little smarter here on this draft weekend. Jeremiah Searles, Alex Boone, Phil Mackey. Find the O-line Committee YouTube channel and also Apple and Spotify. And catch these guys as part of Trenches on Purple Daily as well.
So, all right, that's your breakdown from the O-line Committee of the Jordan Mason acquisition and what he could mean to the Vikings offense. Since we've been talking about Jordan Mason, and you can, by the way, click that like button, subscribe button here if you're still hanging out with us late into the night on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Thank you. Same thing on the O-line Committee YouTube channel if you enjoyed that. But a couple picks off the board here. Maxwell Hairston to the Buffalo Bills with the 30th pick. Actually, I should go back because the Commanders took Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle, Oregon, and then the Kentucky cornerback Maxwell Hairston 30th to the Bills. The Eagles have, this is weird, the Eagles have traded up from 32 to 31 with the Chiefs, and they gave the Chiefs a 5th-round pick to move up one spot. So we'll find out what they've done this for.
For what?
Not sure. Oh, the Eagles are taking Alabama linebacker Jahad Campbell, that's Forness' guy right there. And the Eagles love themselves some linebackers.
They actually hate linebackers. This is hilarious.
Okay, all right, I'm wrong.
Howie Roseman has been known to completely ignore the position. He gets Vic Fangio, all of a sudden he invests a lot into linebackers. So to me, this is all Vic Fangio saying, give me Jahad Campbell. And that defense, with all the youth they have, the ability to rotate guys on the defensive line, like, what an incredible addition if you're comfortable with the medicals.
And pair him with Bond. That's a great 1-2 in the middle behind that D line.
Just what he can do from a coverage perspective is just absurd.
Yeah, his range, right? That's what you heard all the time in the pre-draft process about him. Excuse me, is
Jeremiah just won a beer chugging contest against that Packer fan.
He bought the beer. To be fair, listen. I may not be, what's the Toby Keith song, as good once as I ever was? I don't have many of those left in me, so I'm glad he caught me at the end of the night here. Worth it.
Finish
but
your point.
I just, he was a guy that he checks every box from the traits perspective, right? At the linebacker position in today's era and game, you have to be able to go sideline to sideline. You have to be able to take on guys like Donovan Jackson coming up and getting on you at the second level, and you have to be able to drop back into pass coverage with guys like Jefferson and that coming across the middle and shut that down. He checks all those boxes. Medical, I know medical was a little bit of concern for him.
Both shoulders and a knee.
Right, so I think that's why he's still here, right? Both shoulders and a knee sounds like me. But, I think that's probably why he fell, because he has, if he would have been fully healthy, he has top 15 potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really does. I would have loved him in this defense, but he goes to Philadelphia, and all we're going to hear for the next 3 weeks, Howie Roseman does it again.
Hey, listen, in a couple minutes here, we're gonna put a quarter in Forno one last time and just get thoughts on looking ahead to the 97th pick. So they're going to pick, as of right now, their only pick tomorrow night is toward the end of the 3rd round. Just some players that could be in that range. But we are winding down. There's one more pick left in the draft, and we'll see it through here. But just a huge thank you. If you're watching on YouTube or you did at any point tonight, maybe you're watching on demand or listening on demand, thank you guys. For those of you that stuck this out all night as well.
Thanks, guys.
This place was packed all the way through the Vikings pick, so people were here for hours. Yeah, we could do one more Skol chant.
Yeah.
Let's go. Come on. All right, John, our Vice President of Skol Chant Operations. The diehards.
AJ, there you go.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, a shout out to all of the amazing partners that have helped us put this thing on and have helped us set this up for weeks and weeks and weeks. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, Roku, 2 Men in a Junk Truck, Continental Diamond, Grandpa's Barbecue and all the supplies they brought here.
And Declan dipping his hand in them.
Declan just gooing his entire hand in barbecue sauce. Bricksworth in the North Loop, the pre-party, Element Hotel, Neos Elite Performance, Underdog. Just a huge shout out to all of them, or we wouldn't be able to do this or do this 365 days a year on the regular show. And just behind the scenes, so many incredible people who have worked this event. Everyone at the Fillmore, the bartenders, the staff, the security, the technical people. The Fillmore is an awesome venue. We hope to keep coming back here in future years. In terms of the Score North staff, man, like there's so many people to name, but Pat, Adam, the audio crew, Katie Greenhill, and Tim Kruth, and Trevor is it Grubner or Grebner? I've been on emails with Trevor for 2 years. I've never said his name out loud. But Trevor also is a master of all of our spreadsheets behind the scenes here.
his name.
And he's awesome. Crisco from KS95. I mean, up on stage, Forno and Doogie, who we sent home to his kids. Judd, Sports Dad, Declan. Jeremiah Cyril's altering his travel plans to be here tonight. AJ Fredrickson for his incredible social media work. Alex Westad is back there helping. Our guy Grant. So I'm probably missing our promotions and marketing staff who's here. So just thank you to everyone. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry, but your work does not go unnoticed here at this massive, massive event. So Forno, give us like 3 or 5 players that you have your eye on toward the end of the 3rd round, if you could.
First off, I want to shout out all the people here for being fellow draft degenerates.
Yes.
And that's complimentary, thank you. The one guy that I think I've talked about all cycle, and I started talking about him last year, if he's available at 97, you absolutely sprint to the podium. You take Quincy Riley, the cornerback from Louisville. I'm in love with him. I'm the highest in the industry on him. He's 28th on my big board. He's probably going late day 2, early day 3. He's a ball hawk. He can play inside and out. He's got oily hips, so he can transition upfield and be able to carry receivers. And the one thing that I really like about Riley is when he takes the cheese and he gets a little too aggressive, because he's really patient when he's playing man coverage on the outside. He has enough athleticism to be able to get back and cover his own butt. He's a guy that I would love. Oregon defensive tackle Jamari Caldwell. If you really want to beef up the interior, get a guy who can stop the run, be a traditional nose tackle, because that's something Harrison Phillips isn't. He's good at it. But if you can get a guy who can play big boy nose, 340 pounds, he was a 3 technique at Houston in 2023, has more pass rush juice for a guy weighing 340 than you would think. And the way he torques his hips to be able to hold offensive linemen in place, to be able to shed and get tackles, I think is really impressive. And I think the other guy that I really like, if you want to go offense, Colorado State wide receiver Torrey Horton. He hurt his knee in the middle of the season, did not get to do a lot of athletic testing. He did run the 4.4s. He can get open at all 3 levels of the field. He's good at the catch point. Very, very productive player on a bad Colorado State air raid team. And those are the 3 guys that if they're available at 97, I would love to run to the podium for.
Where does Shedeur go? When does Shedeur go?
Yeah, he's officially not a first-round pick.
Yeah, he's not a first-round pick.
I think he goes by 40.
Okay.
You've got the Browns at 33, the Browns again at 36, the Saints at 40.
Well, Cleveland could take – well, no, because Travis Hunter went to the Jaguars. I was going to say, yeah, because they traded out. I was hoping you could pair him up with Travis Hunter, but not going to happen.
That would have been the dream.
Unless the Jags are moving on from
Trevor
Lawrence. Yeah.
$55 million, not happening.
I'm more intrigued where Jalen Milroe goes than Sanders at this point.
I don't think Jalen goes till the 3rd.
Interesting.
Wow. All right.
He's not that impressive of a thrower, in my opinion. He's a really good runner. He's very good with the football in his hands. This is a passing league. And he's got the little baby Burger King hands.
Oh,
right?
no.
Like he's got those little baby
the
Burger
Dante
King
Culpepper hands.
Yes, he's got the
Tiny
little
hands,
baby, like,
man.
what do I do with these tiny hands?
Oh,
like,
no.
I saw how that worked for Kenny Pickett.
Oh, no, Dante Culpepper's got mitts compared to Jalen Milroe. He's got Kenny Pickett hands. Milroe does.
Yeah.
Culpepper got mocked for small hands. He had 9.5-inch hands. Like, Milroe's got like 8 3/4. Like, that kind of difference, as Jeremiah kind of pointed out, it's massive. Those balls are very big. I know how that just sounded.
Big balls.
I don't care.
Big balls.
Clip that, make it go viral.
That's such a football type of thing to say and then translate to different things.
By the way, Kevin O'Connell, another quote from him, from our guy Alec Lewis from The Athletic. Tonight put a stamp on a plan that we set out to accomplish when walking off the field after that Rams loss.
Yeah.
Damn right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. This is the year that Kevin O'Connell took control of the interior O-line. Said, I'm not going to play. Well, there was some was some talk about the fact that he actually was upset and wanted to bench Ingram before they did, but there were people in the building who were like, he's from the 2022 draft, he can play, and he's finally like, no, he can't. So I think this is the end of the, hey, we think this guy can play. He's like, no, this guy can't play.
All right.
The last pick.
We've made it to the final pick.
You've made it to the
final
first
round.
You've all made it.
Look at you guys.
The Kansas City Chiefs, with the 32nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, have selected Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons. So they get their potential left tackle, I guess. We'll see. So,
no?
Well, yes, but Forness and I were talking, he's got some character issues.
Okay.
He's a perfect Kansas City Chief.
He's
I was
a
going to
great
say,
Kansas City
he
Chief.
fits in perfectly for he
sure.
doesn't care.
Yeah, he'll hang out with Rice and all. But no, I do think that, he has talent. He's incredibly athletic. I mean, ridiculously athletic for a guy his size. That has been a revolving door at left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs since, as long as I can remember, right? Donovan Jennings tried to come in and settle it down for a little bit there. That didn't really work out. They drafted Wanya Morris out of Oklahoma. That didn't really work out. They drafted Kingsley. Not even going to try to say his last name.
Don't forget Lucas Niang, too.
Yes, they've just been trying to fit that piece. They signed Jalen Moore from the Niners with a very big deal that I thought was a little bit of a panic move. But now you bring in Donovan coming off the injury, let him sit, let him grow, and hopefully he turns into your potential franchise left tackle.
And doesn't get arrested.
And does not get arrested.
That's the key. Don't get arrested.
He signed with Drew Rosenhaus. You knew he had problems.
Yeah.
True. True.
Agent on agent crime. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes.
All right. What a night. Super fun night.
Heck yes.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone. This is the best podcast audience, and I think all the football. Purple Daily. We will be live again for sure from 6 to 7 o'clock tomorrow on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. And we'll go into reaction mode just depending on what they do later in the night. Also, we've got regular post-game shows covering the Wolves and the Wild playoff runs. Old Dex tweets over here on the Twins Beat, the Score North Twin Show, which you can find a separate YouTube channel for that too.
And just remember, if anyone hears anything that remotely sounds plausible, the anonymous tip line open 24 hours a day, okay?
That's right.
So if your brother's cousin's sister tells you something that comes from TCO, we need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, do not hesitate to send it in here. And the O-line committee YouTube channel where you can find more of Jeremiah Searles if you enjoyed his analysis tonight, and our guy Alex Boone, O-line committee on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. And solidifying the offensive line is a nice step in that direction. We'll see what they do the rest of the draft here. Thank you guys so much for being part of the 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We love you guys. Have a great night.